Warning: mature content. The following stream contains content that may not be suitable for all audiences, including mature themes, strong language, and potentially sensitive material. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, J-Bo Nation! Shaming of Jay. He's not a dopey dumb bitch. He gets laid. The court jester, the court DJ. It's time to dive into the case. To the case.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It is Friday Eve in our hearts, Thursday, August 1st. I was checking out. I was planning on just maybe doing a courtroom crawl today, switching from docket to docket to docket. But then I saw Judge Boyd had a trial start yesterday, the State versus Castro. Looks like, from what I initially listened to in the indictment, it's I think it's a drunk driving case where someone unfortunately was killed. She started yesterday. There's two parts to it, and then she's coming back today, I think at like 2:30 Eastern. So I figured try to get through as much as we could this morning, see where we're at, see if we go live this afternoon to catch the remaining part of the trial. So thanks for being here. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, it is August, and you know what that means. I always, by the way, I also figured it'd be better that I not make fun of the Olympics and have Shannon mad at me, because that's what I do when I'm not streaming lately, and Babe was upset when I started ragging on run walking, which is a freaking sport in the Olympics, if you can believe that shit. Like, run walking? I'm just watching this. I'm like, just run. This is ridiculous. Run walking. And then literally, I'm watching it, and one of the announcers is like, this is no laughing matter. I'm like, sir, this is a laughing matter. Secondly, one of the contestants, Babe is booing from the other room. One of the the announcer's like, one of these athletes didn't even know his mom was a speed walker because she hid all of her medals, so he didn't find out till he was like in his, when he was late. I'm like, good job, Mom. You didn't want to. Good job hiding that from your son. Like, if you win a speed walking medal, do you like go, I want a speed walking medal? I could have ran, but I was a speed walker. And I'll tell you this right now. My splits from me speed walking out of the office when I used to work in the office would crush everyone in the Olympics. I would crush them. I mean, just my walking in general, Babe just said to me, is a little too fast. So, everyone, thanks for being here. Let's start this trial. Who's ready to start a new trial? And also, hold on. Shoot, I didn't want to do that. Well, let me do that anyway. Let me just do something here real quick. Let's clear this. Let's pin this. It's August 1st, so that means I can give out some membies. I always blow my load and give them out. I can give out 10 a month. I always do. What? Yes. Oh man, Babe is in the gallery, peanut gallery today. All right. Make sure you click on this link to receive a membership, and I'll give out some memberships in a few minutes. Just make sure you click on this link and allow yourself to receive memberships. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, the closet's open. Uh-oh. All right, hold on. Let me start this trial and close the closet before Shannon puts me in the dungeon again. All right, so let's go over here. Let's put on this over here. I really should have streamed this to places other than YouTube. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to start this trial. We're going to squaducial this over here. Hopefully, Botrix will wake up. Let me start with the indictment, which he was reading. I started it. All right, here we go. And if you don't know Judge Boyd, I promise you, there's Botrix. You will love Judge Boyd because she is the best. We interviewed her on the channel. We used to watch her all the time. She is the greatest. If you're not familiar with Judge Boyd, you are going to love her. So here we go.
Us know because both parties want down. So if you can affirm their
By the authority of the state of Texas. Yes, Your Honor. The name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bear County, state of Texas, duly organized and paneled and sworn as such at November term AD 2022 of the 175th District Court of said county and said court at said term, do present in and to said court that in the county and state of aforesaid and inferior to the presentment of this indictment, on or about the 22nd day of July 2022, Alexander Castro did recklessly cause the death of an individual, namely Alexandria Seibert.
Thank you so much, Lily. I'm waiting for the bot to read it, but I guess it's not. Thank you so much, Lily. Maybe it will read it? No, all right.
Hereinafter referred to as the plaintiff, by driving and operating a motor vehicle at a speed that was not reasonable and prudent under the circumstances then existing, failing to keep a proper lookout, failing to apply brakes in a timely manner, failing to take a proper and necessary evasive action to avoid colliding with another motor vehicle, failing to maintain a proper following distance, operating a motor vehicle after consuming alcohol, operating a motor vehicle while impaired by reason of the introduction of alcohol into the body, and the said acts and omissions resulted in the motor vehicle driven and operated by the defendant colliding into a motor vehicle occupied by the department. Deadly weapon allegation, and it is further presented into said court that the defendant did use and exhibit a deadly weapon, to wit, a motor vehicle that in the manner of use and intended use is capable of causing death and serious bodily injury during the commission of this offense against the peace and dignity of the state. Signed, jury, the foreman of the grand jury.
to that, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. State, do you have any opening statements?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
The closet is closed. Everyone can relax. Mainly my
On July
wife.
22nd of 2022, Alexandria Seibert was heading home. She had just spent the day with her boyfriend, Josh. They went golfing. They went out to dinner. They went back to Josh's apartment and watched a movie. Her home was her parents' house. In order to get there, she had to go north on 281. While she was on 281, she ran into traffic. Traffic as far as the eye could see. You're going to hear from Officer Morgan. He's a 3-year San Antonio Police Department officer. He was responding to the cause of the traffic. It was a car crash that happened further north on 281. Now, while responding to this car crash, Officer Morgan was notified of another car crash. It happened further south on 281. He was in his patrol vehicle. He got out and he started walking over. But then he started running because he saw several cars that were very damaged. He ended up talking to 2 of the drivers of those damaged cars. One of those drivers was the defendant, Alexander Castro. Now, while talking to the defendant, Officer Morgan noticed a third vehicle that had been heavily damaged. It was a little further south. He ran. Inside that car was Alexandra Seibert. She was unconscious. She had an open head wound. She was bleeding heavily. She never woke up from that. EMS came and took her to University Hospital, and Officer Morgan began his part of the investigation. Now, Officer Morgan's a patrol officer. Whenever there's a potentially fatal crash, patrol officers have to call SAPD's Traffic Investigation Division. They're the experts when it comes to car crashes. They could recreate. They could figure out how this happened. Officer Morgan didn't have any eyewitnesses who could directly say exactly what happened. So all of the drivers that were involved were kept at the scene so that they can talk to TID. But Officer Morgan made a mistake. TID told him to follow up. He didn't. While conducting his investigation, he spoke with the defendant several times. You're going to hear that. He asked why things happened. You're going to hear what the defendant had to say. TID eventually realized that there was no follow-up. So several hours after they made the scene, spoke to the drivers, and began their investigation. You're going to hear from several of the witnesses, several of the people who were on the highway when this happened. They did not see what happened. One of the witnesses was involved. His car was half crushed in due to the defendant's car hitting him at a high speed. You're going to hear from several 911 callers who saw the traffic, who saw the long line, and decided to exit because that's how far away you could see this. They had enough time to exit. One of the 911 callers saw the defendant's vehicle speed down 281, approaching all the cars that were waiting there in traffic. He didn't see the accident. He saw the debris fly in the air. He heard the actual crash. You're going to hear from now Sergeant Martinez. She was a detective at the time with TID. She was the primary detective that was investigating this case. She looked at the roadway evidence. She looked at data from both Alexandra's car and the defendant's car. And she was able to calculate and figure out exactly how fast the defendant was going. He was going over 90 miles per hour. He never hit his brakes. He never made any attempt to avoid any of the cars that were so vulnerable there. State's asking you to listen to the evidence. Just think about what we're presenting. Officer Morgan was disciplined for what happened, for not following up. He was also disciplined for not further investigating. And you'll hear from him why that happened, what happened there. But don't let that failure on Officer Morgan's part cloud you and how reckless the defendant's actions were. So the state's asking you again to listen and to judge how reckless his actions were that night.
Defense, any opening statements? Yes.
Thank you, Judge. Oh, yeah.
Interesting. We have some issues apparently with the investigation. A drunk driver. Thanks for being here, everybody. This is a trial that started yesterday and will continue today at, I think, 2:30 Eastern, if I remember correctly. Oh, and thank you, Donna White, who joined. Oh my God! Thank you, Donna White, who joined this morning, and Viv, $50. Thank you, Jay. I hit 3K YouTube subs. That's awesome, Viv. Congratulations, and thank you so much for the $50 super chat. That's so awesome. Thank you, Viv, and congratulations. You deserve all of the subs. This is a jury trial, folks. This is a jury trial. They are talking to the jury right now.
No.
You want me to do that?
No. Okay. And state and all attorneys, please feel free to move about the courtroom if you are unable to view an item.
Thank you, Judge. This case is a tragedy. It's a tragedy. We have to acknowledge that up front. It is a tragedy. And Alexandra Saber lost her life.
All right. We already have a accented gentleman attorney.
As a result of this tragedy. But this tragedy is not a crime. And I'm going to tell you why it's not a crime. And I can agree with some things that Mr. Escobar said, but I disagree with others. I'm going to tell you the whole story about what happened that night. Because I tell you what, I didn't mention that name. Shayna Alassal. You're not going to hear her come as a witness. No criminal case filed against her. But Shayna Alassal is the first domino that caused this chain reaction where Alex drove into a scene of a crash. Shayna Alassal, you're going to see, evidence is going to show that Shayna Alassal argued with her husband. Shayna Alassal drank. Shayna Alassal drove the wrong way on Highway 281. She drove the wrong way up the exit ramp on 281 and had a collision with a vehicle. Shayna Alassal was driving the wrong way on the highway. But for the conduct of Shayna Alassal, the truth is, but for the conduct of Shayna Alassal, Alexandra Siebert wouldn't have been sitting on the highway, parked in that long line of traffic that Mr. Escobar talked about. Alexandra Siebert would still be here. She wouldn't have been sitting in the traffic, but for the conduct of Shayna Alassal. Now, she's not here. She wasn't arrested. Shayna Alassal was driven home to meet her husband that she'd argued with by the police. And I hope she's watching today. I hope she's watching and listening to this, because she's not here to answer for what she did that put that man in the chair there, where the state is trying to convict him of killing somebody. Now, was he driving too fast? Yes, but he was driving too fast on the right way, going the right way down the highway. So that's the first thing. The state talked about causation in the PowerPoint, in the voir dire. They said, but for the conduct of him. That's what they have to prove, but for the conduct of him, Alex. Ms. Seibert would still be alive, but it's but for the conduct of her. But it's not just her. We're not just blaming Shayna Alassal, even though she did get drunk, drive the wrong way on the highway, have a collision, then get driven home by the police. Mr. Escobar talked about the police. Now, they do a difficult job. I used to be a police officer.
Oh,
Dealing with a scene like that is difficult.
fancy
but they've
pants.
got a responsibility. The police officers at the scene are the second domino in this chain of events that leads to the unfortunate death of Miss Siebert, because they've got a duty to protect. They've got a duty to warn. And like Mr. Escobar said, they were on scene for approximately, the evidence is going to show, the officers were on the scene for 22 minutes before there was another accident. On the highway, they put out no flares. Everybody's seen an accident on the highway where the police put out flares. They didn't put a police vehicle in the way. They didn't call one of their buddies on the radio to say, hey man, can you go and protect the scene? There's some flashing lights so people don't crash into them. Any of that. No one put on a luminous bright green jacket to say, hey, slow down, slow down. No one did any of that. Now we talk about the definition of recklessness. That's what Alex is charged with. What the police officers did at the scene is the definition of recklessness. It just is, it's the truth. Because you've got to know about a risk. You've got to know about a risk, and then you've got to consciously disregard it. How do we know the officers consciously disregarded a risk that they know about? It's in their policy and procedure manual. And you're going to hear it from the sergeant who used to be a detective. It's one of the basic policies that the police have. One of the first things they do is warn. You go to the scene of an accident and you warn. You make it safe. They didn't do that. They just got focused in on the first accident while traffic was building up, building up, building up, building up, building up, building up for 20 minutes. Now, he might have been driving too fast, but he was driving the right way on the highway. Shayna Alassal wasn't. She's the first but for. The officers are the second but for. Now, let's talk about Alex. Let me talk this Alex. Let me talk about Alex Castro. Talk about him. And it's going to happen throughout this trial. And I want you to watch out for it, please. State is trying to turn this into an intoxication manslaughter case. And it's not. He was out for 8 hours before this accident. And you're going to hear from him. You're going to hear from him on the videos. talking to the officers. He said, I had 4 beers earlier, man, at the driving range. 8 hours before this happened. They're trying to turn this into an intoxication manslaughter case, and it's not. And they're trying to do that because recklessness is presumed, and they can't prove it. Don't let them do it. It is not. Don't let them play on your emotions so that you turn it into that. It's not. He's got to be judged on whether he was reckless or not. What does reckless mean? Remember what we said about reckless. Reckless is you know of a risk. You know of a risk, and then you say, no, I consciously disregard it, which means I know that traffic is stopped. Traffic is at a standstill in front of me. And this is where we're going to ask you, this is why we picked you guys. This is why I'm glad you're on the jury, because we're going to ask you to use your common sense when you look at this evidence, because apply your common sense to this. What the state is saying in this charge, this is why he has to be not guilty, because they're saying that he knows that there's this risk, but he disregards it. So they're saying that he's driving, the state's just said in opening that he's approximately driving 90 miles an hour. He's driving too fast the right way down the highway. So if he's disregarded the risk that he knows is ahead, remember they've got to prove, and you swore an oath a minute ago. The judge gave you the oath. You swore to follow the law and the evidence. This is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. If you follow that oath, you've got to swear to follow the oath, to look at the law, which is that Alex Castro was aware of a risk and he consciously disregarded it. It doesn't make any sense, because you're saying, this prosecutor's saying he's doing 90 miles an hour and he's driving into a brick wall, because that's what they're saying. That's what recklessness is in this case. He is driving 90 miles an hour, according to the prosecutor, into a brick wall. That can't be the case. It makes no sense, because that means that's suicide. That's tantamount to him trying to kill himself. Common sense says that. If you are driving at the speed Mr. Escobar says he is, and you're driving into parked traffic, you're trying to kill yourself.
Sustained,
Oh,
You're trying to kill yourself.
sustained.
And that defies common sense. You see, I'm right. That's why he's objecting.
I'm going to object to argumentative.
All right.
Over the shoulder.
All right, number one, the objection is sustained. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's an improper argument. These are opening statements. Both parties are to inform you of what they expect the evidence to show you. And state your objection is sustained.
This dude isn't going to last long if he keeps ignoring Judge Boyd. Not going to be good for him. Not going to be good for this man. He's going to
So I
travel
want you to think about
right
why
back
this
to
happened.
England.
Why this happened, because there's only one person sitting in that chair today, and he's not the only one responsible for this. His actions are by definition not reckless. If anything, he ought to have known. He ought to have known. But to say that he knew and then he disregarded it means he's driving into a brick wall at 90 miles an hour. That makes no sense. Shana Alasso's the first domino. The police officers are the second, and their investigation, failing to warn, failing to do anything to protect Alexandra Siebert. And she's a good person. I never met her. I've seen a lot of evidence about her. She did nothing wrong. It's a tragic thing. And you're going to hear, and it's
Sustained.
Judge, it's opening statement. It is
All
opening.
right, oh, counsel.
Uh-oh.
When I
Thank you,
make
Judge.
my ruling,
I'll
those are
move
my
on, Judge.
rulings. So
And
the
the
evidence-
objection is sustained.
Thank you, Judge. I'm sorry. The evidence that you're going to see, the evidence will show that this is heartbreaking. You're going to see things. You're going to see things. I want you to be prepared for that. You're going to see things that are going to break your heart. They are. It's going to hurt your heart when you see it. It is. But remember these dominoes. Go back to the law. The state is going to try and make you see these vehicles outside.
Argumentative.
The evidence is going to show, the state is going to show you these vehicles outside in the parking lot. It's just the truth. And it's going to be shocking. I'm going to tell you now, it's going to be shocking. It's going to hurt your heart. But please use your common sense. Please follow the law, because you know the first domino in this case is Shana Alassel. She's not here. She was driven home by the police after driving drunk the wrong way down the highway. The second domino in this case is the police failing to warn anyone. And the third one is the only one that they've got. He's sitting here, is Alex Castro, and he's not negligent. He's not reckless. If anything, he's negligent.
Sustained.
I'm going to ask you to find him not guilty. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to have you all step outside in the hallway. Just give me 2 minutes, okay? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.
All right, real quick before we go forward, for those who are coming in right now, first of all, thank you for being here. Second of all, what is going on now is this is a trial that started yesterday in Judge Boyd's court. Judge Boyd is the queen. We love her. It looks like it is it definitely is a car accident case, where it appears, just based by these openings, that the state is saying the defendant is guilty for being drunk and hitting this woman who was stopped on the highway. That looks like the defense is saying this. The only reason this woman was on the highway, I'm sorry, when I said the victim, the only reason the victim was on the highway was because another person went the wrong way and hit her car, having her get into the accident, and then this guy hits her after that, and then there was a bad police investigation from what we're gathering here. So this trial continues today at, I think, 1:30 or 2:30 Eastern. So I figured we'd get through as much as we could that went through yesterday, and see if we go live or we keep watching the stuff from yesterday. I'll fast forward through stuff like this, and maybe we can catch up. So thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate it. We'll continue this trial.
And this is what I want to tell both sides.
Judge Boyd is about to layeth the smacketh down on these candy asses. Judge Boyd don't play if you're not familiar with Judge Boyd.
I understand sometimes passions run high and that everyone is trying to advocate their side. But this is what is not going to happen. And I want people to hear me and internalize what I'm saying. Number one, there are going to be legal objections. I'm going to hear the legal objection and I'm going to make my ruling. And once I make my ruling on the legal objection, there is not going to be a comeback at me that is a response that is not legal. So counsel, this whole thing where the state is objecting, saying it's argumentative, and I rule on it, the comeback answer is, no, it's not argumentative, Judge. It's like, everyone, keep your levels here, make your objections, I will rule on them. Once I rule on the objection, guess what? That's my ruling. Unless you have something new for me to hear, that's my ruling. And if you feel that my ruling is not correct, then that's what the Court of Appeals are for. That's what the Fourth Court is for, the 13th Supreme Court, wherever you want to take it. But I will tell you what I discovered in my experience trying both as a prosecutor and a defense attorney. The jurors just want to be here. They want to hear what the story is and hear what the facts is. But if there's this back and forth where people are tending to get into the point where it's disrespectful, then we're going to be in a different place and I'm going to respond differently. So in this court, I like everyone to treat everybody with kindness and respect, because that's the way you don't have tempers flaring. Because all the cases in felony court, these are very serious cases where potentially sometimes people are looking at prison. You have complainants' families who may be upset. I don't want their tempers to flare. You have the accused families who may feel like, you know, their family member, their loved one should not be here. So they have tempers as well. So I'm depending on attorneys. You're all professional. You should keep it here. Does everyone understand?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Judge.
All right, so the rule has been invoked. So state, if you can make sure that your witnesses know, the rule has been invoked. So if there's anyone who's in the courtroom for the state or the defense who's planning on testifying, now is the time where you can no longer be in this courtroom. They've done their opening statements. Witnesses are going to be called. And if people who are planning on testifying view anything or in the courtroom or talk to people about testimony that they've heard, what's going to end up happening, if it's discovered, I will probably end up hearing motions from either the state or the defense asking that someone not be allowed to testify. Does everyone understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The other housekeeping matter, again, if people are putting things on easels, if people are taking papers to people, defense attorney, state attorney, if y'all need to move around to see it, you don't have to ask permission. You don't have to ask permission to approach a witness. But remember, when you approach the witness, after you have finished approaching the witness, which whatever you want them to see, please have a seat. All right. And Laura Metzel, did you have something for me to sign? All right, I'm going to take this up, then we're going to bring the jury back in. Yes.
Just one other preliminary matter that Barbara West is the mother of the victim, Alice. And she is in the courtroom. She's not a material witness, but she may be brought in for punishment purposes if we get the punishment phase. I'd ask for her to be excused from this rule.
Judge, can we approach?
I mean, either you want her, let's go on the record. All right, state, you're asking who be excused from the rule?
Barbara West, she is the mother of the victim. She was not at the scene. She didn't arrive at the scene, nor does she have any knowledge of what happened at the scene as an eyewitness account. She is solely the mother of the victim in this case, and she may be brought in for punishment purposes and not the first phase of this trial, Your Honor.
All right.
Judge, can't agree to that. We would like to invoke the rule. I can't tell the state how to try their case. They could use other people. So we're invoking the rule, please, Your Honor.
All right, your witness is allowed to say she's not testing in the first phase of the trial?
That's right.
All right, she's allowed to say.
Well, Your Honor, in that case, based on the court's ruling, can Mr. Castro's parents come in because they're only anticipated to be punishment witnesses if we get there, and I've just told them to leave.
All right, do you have any objections, state?
No.
All right, the state is saying that they have no objections to his parents being allowed in the room because they're only going to testify in punishment if we get there. Is that correct?
Correct,
Yes.
Judge.
All right, so do you still have an objection to the complainant's mother being present?
Well, the court's already ruled, Judge. I'm going off. Yes, I do, Judge, but I'm going on the court's ruling. I'm not waiving that objection, Judge.
No. Here's the thing. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, I maintain my objection. I respect the court's ruling.
All right.
Don't get them to come in then, Judge.
All right, they can come in. Where we here?
Okay.
End up in state and defense. We'll talk about the vehicles. I'm going to see where we end up in trial today, and then we'll talk about when specifically the vehicles should be here.
Okay.
All right. All right, let's bring the jurors in.
You will bring the jury.
Seated. State, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, the state called Officer Jeremy Morgan.
Folks, very briefly.
Yes. Yes. Cross that bridge when we get to it.
Oh, I don't like that we
Well,
can't hear
we'll
them.
cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay. All right. Can you write nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand. Please state your name for the record and spell it.
First name's Jeremy, Jeremy. Last name's Morgan, Morgan.
All right, and if you'll make sure that you keep your voice up so that members of the jury can hear
Yes, ma'am.
and the court reporter.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Officer Morgan, who do you currently work for?
I work for the San Antonio Police Department.
How long have you worked for the San Antonio?
I've been employed with them for over 5 years.
What type of training did you receive to become a San Antonio Police Department officer?
Went through 8 months of rigorous training from April of 2019 to November of 2019.
I'm going to put this on 1.25 since we're like a day behind. So let me know if it's okay.
And during this training, what did you learn about in order to become a police officer? Which were subjects?
Learned various things ranging from tactics, penal code, traffic code, safety, how to de-escalate.
So what unit are you currently assigned to?
Currently assigned to North Patrol.
North Patrol, what area does that cover?
It covers as far south as Patricia and as far north all the way to Comal County.
And what are your duties as a patrol officer?
My duties are to respond to calls for services and ensure the safety for the public.
And were you working on July 22nd, 2022?
Yes, sir.
Now, what shift were you working on that day?
I was working power shift.
What does that mean?
That shift rate starts at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and goes all the way to 3 o'clock in the morning the following day.
And on July 22nd, 2017, in the morning hours, did you have to respond to a call?
Yes, sir.
What call did you respond to?
Respond to a major accident at 281 TPC Parkway.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Lord, I'm going to show you what the marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Okay, take a look and see. Do you recognize this?
I do recognize it.
What is it?
That is a copy of my Coban video.
And is it a true and accurate depiction of the video that your Coban captured on that day?
Yes, sir.
Has it been altered or amended in any way?
No, sir.
Your Honor, state what offer states Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Yes. Granted.
See me driving northbound 281.
They're not going to show it.
We are in the Evans Stone Oak area.
And what area of the town of San Antonio is this on?
This is on the far north side.
And is this in Bear County?
Yes, sir.
And so looking at the video, what are you approaching?
I'm approaching the exit ramp for Marshall Road.
And where was the accident you responded to?
We were dispatched at 281 at TPC. Upon arriving on scene, we found that the crash was further north, right at the edge of the exit ramp for Marshall Road.
And what are we seeing up ahead on the highway in your Coban?
Stop traffic.
How can you tell stop traffic?
Brake lights, vehicles are not moving.
And what do you do after you arrive at the scene?
I tried to make my way through, but knowing that I can't fit my patrol vehicle through there, even I split the cars, I decided to exit my vehicle and to assess what I had up ahead.
This is in Texas, Bear County, Texas.
What's the mark of State Exhibit number 2? You recognize this?
Yes, sir.
What is this?
It's a copy of my body camera.
Okay. And other than redactions for legal reasons, has it been altered in any way?
No, sir.
And again, it's a true copy of what happened that day.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, state what offer states Exhibit number 2.
Yes. Any objection?
This guy likes to approach.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you seen State's Exhibit number 2 in its entirety? All right. How long is this?
They
No,
don't
with regards
show
to
it, and the
hearing, how
audio
long is
they
the video?
play is inaudible. All right, I'll fast forward that part. If there's
All right. Step back.
if they're showing stuff that we can't see
Ladies and
or
gentlemen,
hear,
there's something I need to take outside your presence. I'm going to have you all come back. I'm going to say 10:30. It may be sooner than 10:30. You've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to start internally thinking. Seems you some. State, if you'll play it so that defense counsel can see the redacted version.
Yes, Judge.
Remember, you're under oath and attorneys.
I ain't my brakes and everybody talking. Everybody talking. I couldn't talk about that. Oh, no. All right. I got you coming to take you out. So bear with me.
hey everyone, thanks for being here. This is a vehicular manslaughter case.
Oh, no, he has an objection to his client's statement. So wherever his client's statement is, please play it. And we'll see defense if you
I'm not sure. Could we play it?
client. Do you have any objections to that first part?
Judge, I'm not sure. Could we play it again very briefly?
All right.
What happened? What's up, man? I'm okay. What happened? I don't know, everybody stopped. Yeah, because we have another accident over there. Yeah, I ain't my brakes and everybody stopped and I couldn't talk about that. Oh, no. All right, I got you coming to check you out. So bear with me.
All right. Pause.
I mean, I think rather than just they're trying to figure out what they're going to let in. I'm just going to fast forward this and get to what they do let in because I want to catch up to today, hopefully, to live coverage.
Objection to that, Judge.
Oh, now we can see the cop. Oh, good. I can fast forward. This is pretty good. Let's fast forward through a lot of this. Hopefully, we catch up.
And any other? You were offering State's Exhibit number 2?
Yes, sir.
All right. And any other objections you want me to hear before the jury comes in?
Yeah, Judge. I mean, I was going to say that we maintain or re-urge.
We are on the record.
Where is it? You got the Jackson dinner stuff.
All right, defense.
Judge, yes, the objection to the video is the same.
And it's State's Exhibit number 2?
It's 2, Judge. State's
Yes.
Exhibit 2, which is, I believe, Officer Morgan's body camera, and they are to statements after
312.
and it's the Zulu stamp at the top. It's not on the screen right now. It's 312, I believe it is. Our objections to any statement after that made by the defendant where he is not free to leave. He's expressed his desire to leave. His wife is there. He's asked if he can be excused and he'll give a statement. But the officer manifests his intent to keep him there. He's detained. He is not allowed to leave. He doesn't know he's not under arrest, but the effect of it, of the totality of the circumstances is that his freedom of movement has been restricted in such a way that a normal person would believe that they are under arrest because he's not free to go and see his wife. He's not free to go to the bathroom. He's being kept there. So his the situation is the same as custodial arrest, and any statements he has made are because his will has been overborne by hours, not minutes, hours, 2, maybe 3 hours of questioning. And therefore we object to any of those statements that he makes after timestamp 312, I think it is, Judge. On the 5th,
Right, just 1 moment. State, are there any statements made by him after that with regards to this witness?
After the final statement that the state played in the hearing, the final statements, anything else needed?
All right, the objection will be overruled. Let's bring the jurors in.
And Judge, just to that, I know, I'm sorry, and to any evidence after that, any statements by the defendant and any evidence derived from statements from him after that point, Judge.
So with regards to your objection, State has informed the court, and I've watched State's Exhibit number 2 with both state and defense, that with regards to this officer and this officer's body cam, there are no further statements through this officer after there is what appears to be a statement made by the accused about leaving. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Your objection is overruled. Let's bring in the jurors.
All right, for the jury.
And defense, your objections have been noted for the record.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, those objections will be overruled. State's Exhibit number 2 is admitted.
What are we seeing you do here?
I'm walking up to the, what I presume would be the crash further north, but I couldn't make it with my patrol car.
And why couldn't you make it with your patrol car?
My patrol car couldn't fit through the sea of vehicles.
Just as we're watching the state's exhibit number 2, how many vehicles are out there on the highway?
I would say several dozen.
Now fast forwarding all the way up to 156.29, what are we seeing at this, or 158.32, sorry about that. What are we seeing at this point?
The original crash I was dispatched to.
And what was the cause of the original crash?
Wrong way driver.
And who was the main handling officer on this crash?
I was the original handling officer.
Were you the only officer that showed up at the scene?
No, sir.
Who else showed up?
Officer Rodriguez and Officer Lechuga.
But you were the primary.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to the jury, what does it mean when you're the primary?
When you're the primary officer, you're the one handling the report, taking statements, investigating what's happening.
Fast forwarding through state's exhibit number 2, did you speak to any of the witnesses that were involved in the crash, in that first car crash?
No
Judge,
witness.
yes,
Overrule, you can answer yes or no, but do not state what anyone told you.
No,
So you didn't talk to anyone that was involved in the first crash, or you did?
I did.
Now fast forwarding through state's exhibit number 2, up until roughly June 1737. Now, at this point, You've been at this first car crash for about 10 to 15 minutes, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at this point, now that you're back to your patrol car, what are you doing?
Making sure everyone has valid insurance and license.
So you're partway through your investigation.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever get an opportunity to finish your investigation?
No, sir.
What made you pause the investigation into the first crash?
I saw Officer Rodriguez and Officer Luchuga running towards my vehicle.
And when they got towards your vehicle, did they notify you of anything?
Yes.
And what were you notified of?
That they presumed I was involved in a crash, but they also heard a crash further south.
So they heard a crash further south. What did you do upon hearing that?
Went to go figure out what happened further south.
Now fast forwarding, and this is to 2:23:30. What are we seeing here?
Talking with my cover officers about what happened.
Cause I'm
And what
gonna
are they
fuck
doing?
with you, buddy.
That
We're
they
gonna
were,
be buddies. We're gonna be pals. We're gonna wrestle around.
Welcome, Breezy2503. Capri Sun's in the chat. Thank you so much for signing up. Welcome, welcome.
there was a crash that flipped. Well, there was a vehicle that flipped.
And how far away from your patrol vehicle was this crash? Fast forwarding. Was it close distance? Was it far?
It was pretty far from where the original crash was and where we were.
Is it 2:40 or 2:24:46? What are you doing?
Walking over to where they heard they had the crash.
At this point, at about 2:25:37, what are you beginning to do?
Starting to jog
And why is that?
because I saw a vehicle crash down on the right shoulder.
And why is your camera shaking around a lot right now?
Because I'm jogging over to the vehicle.
And is the body worn camera, whenever you wear it, is it steady?
No, never.
And what can sometimes happen?
It can shake.
And you proceeded about 2:26:14. Where's the body cam now?
It's in my hand.
And who are you talking to at 2:26:19?
I'm talking to Mr. Stefanov.
And who's Mr. Stefanov?
He was the driver of the Volkswagen, the first vehicle I saw.
And how many vehicles did you at first think were involved in this second crash?
I only presume that there was 3 vehicles involved.
What type of vehicles?
One was a Volkswagen, which Mr. Stefanov was driving. Then I saw an 18 big rig, and then I saw a Chevy Silverado.
So you first talked to Mr. Stefanov.
Yes.
And where was Mr. Stefanov's car in relation to that 18-wheeler?
It was about it's 1 o'clock.
Was it ahead of the 18-wheeler?
Yes.
And right here in 2:26:33, where are you going now?
I'm running over to the Chevy Silverado.
And what if you want something you mess? What's up, man? I'm okay. What happened? I know everybody's down. Yeah, because we have another accident over there. Yeah, I am a race and everybody talks in this. I couldn't talk about that. Oh, there's another gosh. Alright, I got you, man.
I'm stopping at about 2:27:14. Who are you talking to at 2:27?
MJ just sent me our awesome mod MJ $20 Venmo. A little late, but hooray for 20K. Keep up the great work. J-Bo Nation is definitely the place to be. Thank you so much, MJ. You're the best.
7:14.
Mr. Alexander Castro.
And do you see Mr. Castro here in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Can you point out to him, describe him by an article of clothing that he's wearing?
He's wearing the blue suit and gray pants.
Let the record reflect that the officer has identified the defendant. Where was Mr. Castro whenever you first encountered him?
He was in the driver's seat of the Chevy Silverado.
And did you ask him what happened?
Yes, sir.
And what did he say?
He said everyone's braking, tried to brake, couldn't brake.
And while you were talking to Mr. Castro, did you notice anything?
That he was involved in a very serious crash.
Did you notice any other cars?
Yes.
Well, where did you notice another car?
Further south of where his truck was. About it's 5 o'clock.
So further south. So it was further south on 281.
Yes, sir.
And so you were already responding to the first accident that's in Bear County, but now we're going more south to where we're definitely in Bear County.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Al. Just bear with me.
Wish they would show the
At
video,
2:27:20,
but
what are you doing?
Running over to the Honda Accord because I didn't see a driver exit the vehicle.
Now, I'll the video at 2:27:55. How many people were in the Honda Accord when you approached?
Only one person.
What was the name of that individual? Did you ever gather that info?
Initially, no, but it was relayed as Miss Alexandria Sabert.
And what was Miss Sabert's condition?
She had a massive laceration on her forehead from what we could initially see.
Was she conscious?
She was not conscious.
While you were with her, did she ever regain consciousness?
Never.
Your Honor, may we approach very briefly?
Yes.
My man loves an approachal. Whoa, direct view of.
Proceed. All right, you may proceed.
Trying to make contact with her, trying to talk to her.
And what's your concern at this time?
Making sure she's stable.
And were there other officers there with you while you were with Miss Sabert?
Yes, sir.
Who else was with you?
Officer Rodriguez.
Did any other officers show up while you were there?
Later on, when I requested more, yes.
Fast forwarding. At 2:29:40, what are you doing here, sir?
Trying to alert other drivers that there's a major crash that just happened. Trying to get them to slow down.
And were all the other drivers slowing down?
Yes.
Fast forward to 2:30:37. At this point, Officer Morgan, what are you trying to do?
Still trying to make contact with Miss Sabert.
What does Officer Rodriguez do?
We're cutting the seatbelt.
Why are you cutting the seatbelt?
I believe that she may have been choking on her own blood based on the position she was in. So we
Oh,
wanted to put her in
man.
a recovery position,
What did you decide to do?
extract her from the vehicle.
Was that the right decision?
No.
Why?
Based on my training, I should have just kept her there, wait for EMS.
Well, what was your concern?
My concern was making sure she wasn't choking on her own blood.
Fast forward to 2:31:50.
Now I'm kind of glad they're not showing this. I recant my earlier statement.
Making sure she's in the recovery position,
What's the recovery position?
leg over leg, making sure her head's stable.
And why would you put someone in the recovery position?
This way the blood does not go down their throat, can come out their mouth.
And did you stay with Miss Sabert?
For brief moments.
I'm fast forwarding right now. Uh, 2:36:0. And I'm pausing at 2:36:04. Who did you meet with Miss Sabert?
I left Miss Cyber with Officer Chavarria and Officer Rodriguez.
And what was your concern?
Went to go make contact with the other drivers involved.
Was EMS already on the way?
Yes.
Okay. So, you was driving this one? Yeah. You got your license on you? Yeah. Can you hold on just on you is correct? What happened? We hit the brakes, on some of the brakes, and I couldn't. I tried to, I hit the brakes. Okay. Who'd you hit? You hit him? Nope.
Pausing at 2:37:10. So did you get another opportunity to talk to Mr. Castro?
Yes, sir.
And what did he tell you the second time you spoke?
He said everyone hit the brakes. I hit the brakes.
And after that point, what did you begin to do?
went over to Mr. Stefanov's vehicle after speaking with Mr. Martinez.
And Mr. Martinez, who was he? What vehicle was he driving?
He was driving the big rig for HEB.
And at 2:37:23, is that the big rig we see on screen?
Yes, sir.
Fast forward now. Did EMS ever arrive?
Yes, sir.
Now we're seeing that here at 2:38:56.
Yes, sir.
So a few minutes after you encountered Ms. Seibert, EMS is here.
Yes, sir.
And are you aware, where did they take her?
Samsey, I believe.
$150 watching, 140 likes. You guys are the best. Thank you.
What are we seeing?
Me speaking with Mr. Stefanov, trying to get his driver's license.
We're speaking with all these other drivers, without saying what they told you. Are you getting information on how the crash occurred?
Yes, sir.
We see at 2:40:46, we can kind of tell that Mr. Stefanov's vehicle is ahead of that HEB 18-meter. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And where is Mr. Castor's vehicle in relation to that HEB 18-meter?
Right behind it, but behind the trailer.
And then the Cyber's vehicle, that's further south down 281.
Yes, sir.
I fast forwarded to 2:42:33. At this point, what are you doing?
Speaking with the my cover officers, handing the original crash over to one of them, or asking them if they can handle that while I handle the fatality.
And what do we notice here? What's missing here that was there when you were further north on 281? What was there?
Traffic.
Where's the traffic out?
It's been moved.
Again. This time it's about 2:44:29. Where are you now?
Inside my patrol vehicle,
And what are you doing?
contacting TID.
TID. Explain to the jury, what is that?
TID is abbreviation for Traffic Investigations Detail,
And what is TID's job?
to investigate severe crashes involving serious bodily injury and or death.
And why do you have to call them when there's cases involving serious bodily injury or death?
Because they're the specialists
What do they specialize in?
investigating how crashes occurred.
And so are you able to speak to a TID detective?
Yes.
Who do you speak to?
Back then it was Detective Martinez, now she's Sergeant Martinez,
And what are you doing when you're talking to Detective Martinez, now Sergeant Martinez?
telling her what the other drivers have said and in regards to how the crash happened.
And does Sergeant Martinez ever give you any orders as to what to do next?
Yes.
Object to hearsay, Judge.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can't say what was said. Just remember to answer the questions that's asked of you. So the answer to that question is either yes or no.
Yes.
Could you repeat your question, please?
Did Sergeant Martinez ever give you any orders?
Yes.
Did you follow those orders?
No.
What did you not do?
I forgot to call them back for an update on Miss Seibert's condition.
Jeez, this guy, man.
So after your conversation with TID, what do you think is going to happen next?
I'm under the presumption that they would be making our scene after they finished what crash scene they were on.
How long did it take TID to make that scene?
Roughly 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Did you ever follow up with TID during that time?
Not until after they asked me to call them.
While you were waiting for TID, or what you thought TID was on the way, what were you doing?
Repositioning my patrol vehicle.
Fast forwarding.
Yeah, dude. Not.
What are you doing
not good.
at this point?
Making my way to the crash scene.
Now, where was your patrol vehicle originally?
It was on the exit ramp for Marshall Road,
Where are you now positioning your vehicle?
south of the original crash scene. I'm sorry, the secondary crash.
Okay. We consider number one. What are we seeing in State's Exhibit number one? And this is at about 2:54:51.
An open exit ramp,
And what are you doing?
driving to go take the turnaround at Marshall Road to go south.
Oh, at 2:55:15, what was the thing that we saw on that exit ramp? What did we see?
A tow truck towing a vehicle.
Was that one of the vehicles that was involved in the first car crash?
Yes.
Passport State's Exhibit number one. What are we seeing on that fast forward?
He driving south on the access road of 281.
At 2:59:53.
That was the access road for North Loop 604 East. Now it looks like I'm about to take the entrance ramp before Redland Road.
At about 3:35, what are we seeing here?
I was shutting down the highway.
Why did they shut down the highway?
It's procedure whenever we're in TID's making scene.
And what exit are you passing here at 3:01:59?
I'm passing up the TPC exit.
On the side of the road, are you noticing anything as you're driving towards where that second car crash happened?
There's no traffic on the access road.
Do you notice any signs?
Yes.
What are those signs for?
Construction.
So they're a warning.
Yes.
And up at the horizon at 3:02:31, what are we seeing up ahead?
The second crash.
Could you see that where that second crash happened from a distance?
Yes, sir.
Now up ahead, what is that?
It's the second crash that occurred.
Now that 3:03:03. After you reposition your vehicle, what did you begin to do? And
I-
again, we're the state's playing State's Exhibit number two at 3:04:10.
Now I'm entering my patrol vehicle to write case cards for all parties involved.
What's the case code?
Case card is basically whenever there's an official textile crash report or any kind of report that SAPD is going to be investigating.
So you have to give it to all the involved drivers?
Yes, sir.
Fast forwarding. State's Exhibit number two. I'm stopping at about 3:09:0. What are we seeing as you're walking around at during State's Exhibit number two?
The totality of the crash.
So it might be a good minute for you to be out here. We're waiting for our investigator unit to come out here, talk with you to see what happened. That's for you. So at the top, it's gonna be labeled as crashes right now. Based on right there for your insurance purposes. It's got all of you that's coming out of the traffic investigation department. They'll come out here and ask you what happened. Do you recall what happened? Like just traffic came to a stop?
I just remember everything came to a stop and I hit the brakes. And I just kept on the brakes and I kept seeing brake lights and everything just.
Do you know when you hit? Like did you hit the 18 or
Thought I hit him, yeah.
like
He said I hit him, but I don't know what I flipped on. I know I flipped.
You like rolled or like spun?
I know I rolled. I mean, you can see the scratches all on the side.
Yeah, I can see the scratches. I guess if it just rolled like that. Try to figure out what you might. You know,
I think the 18 would have hit him, and he stopped all of a sudden. And I just stopped, like just tried it as hard as I could to hit the brakes.
Yeah. All the way to TPC, because that's the nearest exit. Because we can't have anyone coming through here right now. Your truck's stuck here for a little bit.
I'm just wondering if my life.
Yeah, your wife wants to show the parking lot over there. I think that's an idea. Because like I said, it's gonna be a good minute. And we can always give you a courtesy right off the highway. You got any other questions?
Really just want to know what happened. All I know is everybody hit the brakes, and I hit the brakes, and I just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
They're all going, traffic's all going. I had no more brake.
Well, I don't know. If they're not, I mean, like sold, I don't know how much security is gonna catch you.
I pulled cover. Not worried about that. I'm just
Trying to figure out what's going on. You and me both. So,
On top of the video at 3:13:25, when you talk to Mr. Casper again, can you give any more details about what happened?
Yes.
What details did he give?
Said everyone's hitting the brakes. I hit the brakes. Couldn't stop.
Do you know what he hit?
He believed he hit the 18-wheeler.
Did he ever describe how traffic was flowing?
He said it was flowing as normal.
Now, after 3:13:26, I'm gonna start fast forwarding. What do you begin to do?
Go and talk with Mrs. Stepanov.
Stopping video at 3:14:37. What are you doing with Mr. Stepanov?
Trying to assess what entries he has and let him know that EMS is on the way.
And do you talk again about what he may have seen?
Yes.
So fast forwarding. About 3:17:10. What are we seeing here?
Mrs. Stepanov's Volkswagen.
Forwarding again. About 3:18:51. What are we seeing you here?
I'm talking to Mr. Martinez, gathering his information.
And are you also trying to ask what happened?
Yes, sir.
Fast forward again. Uh, 3:25:45. What are you beginning to do here?
I was trying to figure out where Mr. Castro went.
Was he in the same spot that he was in earlier?
No, sir.
Where did he gone?
He had walked further south towards where my cover officers were shutting down traffic.
And did he stay with your cover officers?
Begrudgingly, yes.
Why do you say begrudgingly?
Because from what Officer Travali was saying, he was trying to be assertive and trying to leave.
Isn't that hearsay?
Fast forwarding. About 3:29:14. What are you doing here?
Assessing the damage to Ms. Sabert's vehicle.
Officer Morgan, are you trained in any sort of accident reconstruction?
No. Just a bare minimum.
So you can't figure out how this happened.
No, sir.
Who would be able to figure that out?
CID.
I mean, that's on the defense counsel. Should have objected there.
Fast forwarding again. Time to get out. 4:21:28. While fast forwarding, what are you doing?
Typing up reports, catching up
Catching up with what?
on prior reports and adding information to this case.
Three or 4 minutes or 4 hours flat. What are you doing again?
Assessing the damage of the crash.
4/21/28.
On a fatality over here. No. That's
Right,
what
so
I'm
we
gonna
get 4/15.
That's they'll finish up on a fatality over on downtown.
So what did we hear you do there?
Inform Mr. Castro that TID is still working on another crash.
Hi, Michael.
4/19.
Hi, Michael.
Mr. Castro said that he needed to use the restroom, so I'm escorting him over further south so he can take care of business.
And why can't it escort him further south?
This way, I want to contaminate the crash scene.
I'm not gonna say anything. As long as it's not closed over to the public over there. Yeah, yeah, I got it. So you just wanna, I go out right here, you just wanna go for it. The what? I know, like I said, I can't stop other people from crashing their car, so, earlier today. Yeah. Well, is it for work? No, yeah, I got the most that's actually really good. Okay. How long was that? Oh, wow, so kind of recently, like 3 months ago. It wasn't really actually, yeah, they tried to steal my money. Oh, well, where? There. Yeah, it's well, and there's like four people like trying to get up on my some guy grabbed my arm and that was my punching. So I just hit it. I hit not a wall, but I hit her. I just flipped over. Oh, okay. I kind of saved myself, but did you say the bike at least? Yeah, the bike's on. That's good. I still do a lot, man. Like we, like this. Like I was on my way to pick up my boy, and he's like, I need a ride. I'm like, I got you. I was hitting golf balls. Okay. Michael, Texas or Michael Road? Oh, okay. I didn't know where he was at, and I was like, where you at? And I was like, trying to put it in my GPS. And the little Honda just like came into me and like slid over me. What do you mean the Honda slid into you? I don't know. She was like into me, like I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what she was doing, or I didn't know it was her actually. So, yeah. So the driver was over there. Yeah. The driver was just like erratic, and he just like hit me and put me over. And I was like, "What's wrong with you driving?" You know. One day I was in this one. I was in the fast lane. You were in the right lane, and she was driving erratic. Which way was she driving erratic on? It was bouncing all over the place. Come on, get the median or what? Huh? Come on, hitting like the median or something? Or you mean like, I thought she was pulling over. And she came under me and I was on my side. There was nothing I could do. I was just like holding on. Which part under you are you talking about? Just like she came and put on your right side or your left side? On the right side. But she came over and she on the right side. From looking at it, I guess I went over her and stopped right there. Yeah. But I caused you to roll over and no. Yeah. I said, then you flipped for a good amount. I was sliding. Is he good? I was, yeah, I think a little bit was good. I like that. I did. It's a four. 18 was, but Mike was in the car. No, he's not. He's just chilling. He can't take off with the vehicle yet. So this is part of our crash. Gotta say, even with all the stuff he has in it. Because he might be at his destination. You'll go surprise her here. Hopefully, I'm ready for it. Yeah, I mean, it's all like strategy. It's horrible. Yeah, it was. You get them to talk to y'all first, and then send y'all on your way. Like, I thought like I just get like a first statements. You know, no, they let you do their interviews, especially when it's on scene. It's fresh right there. Yeah, I just want to stay with them. I'm gonna help you with type of the report. Y'all go with watching him again?
On files again 424, 43. What new details did Mr. Castro just tell you?
Mr. Castro said that he was golfing and then he received a text from his boy saying, I need a ride. So he said he was messing with GPS and he saw the Honda driving erratic.
And what did he say that the Honda did to him?
He said that the Honda went under him.
That the Honda struck him?
Yes, sir.
But he also said that the Honda had been pulling over?
Yes, sir.
Now, at this point, it's been about 2 hours since the crash, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Has CID made their way out there?
No, sir.
That's what you were still waiting for, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you ever informed that CID was on their way? Now, fast forwarding right now.
After Detective Martinez wanted to speak with me on the phone, I relayed the information on her on Miss Seibert's condition at the hospital. So they started making their way over to our location.
Fast forward. Several minutes. At one point, were you notified that CID was on their way?
After I was done with my phone conversation in the patrol vehicle.
Fast forwarding until 6:11:33. Who are you approaching at 6:11:33?
Sergeant Martinez and Mr. Castro.
Now, Officer Morgan, for the driver that was involved in that first crash, did you ever investigate whether they were intoxicated?
No. Initially, I tried to go back, but I didn't have a chance to go to.
Were you disciplined due to the fact that you didn't investigate whether she was intoxicated?
Yes, sir.
What was your discipline?
Object to relevance, Judge.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
Yes, Your Honor. It was a 10-day suspension.
Did anyone ever investigate whether she was intoxicated?
No, not to my knowledge.
Was there another issue that came up due to that first car crash?
In regards to discipline, yes, sir.
Why were you disciplined?
Two
Uh-oh.
allegations. One was attentiveness to duties, and the other one was for crash investigations.
Why are you disciplined because of crash investigations?
I had failed to inform TID of a crash involving a wrong-way driver, regardless of the injuries.
In regards to this incident, sir, were you disciplined in regards to that second crash involving Mr. Castro?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's take we approach on it.
Yes.
Approachal. My tickler button's not working, otherwise I would update it. I'll try to work on that. Oh, can't even hear that.
All right, State, you may proceed.
Officer Morgan, did you ever detect any signs of intoxication from Mr. Castro?
No, sir.
Did you ever investigate into whether he could be intoxicated?
No, sir.
And was that one of the reasons why you were disciplined due to this secondary car accident?
Yes, sir.
What was the other reason why you were disciplined?
Alertness while working.
What does that mean?
Basically, I didn't have a sound and coherent mind while I was investigating
Whoa.
Specifically, why did they allege that?
because I failed to contact TID after calling them initially.
Now,
Jeez.
you're standing by while Detective Martinez was talking to Mr. Castro. Did he ever admit anything while you were standing by?
I'm going to have to say, Judge.
All right, to what Mr. Castro said?
Well, because it's coming, the answer to the question comes from a question and an answer that comes from a different officer, and that's where that.
All right, if you'll repeat your question.
Did Mr. Castro ever admit to anything while you were there?
Yes, sir.
What did he admit to?
He admitted to drinking beers.
Had you asked him anything about alcohol consumption leading up to that point?
No, sir.
Is that why you were disciplined?
Yes, sir.
That's the witness.
Defense, your cross.
This is not going to look good for this dude.
Good afternoon, or good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
Doing okay, sir.
Good. My name's Gary Hillier. I don't think we've met before. Is that right?
I'm sorry?
We haven't met before.
No, sir.
My name's Gary Hillier. I am one of the attorneys that represent Mr. Castro. I have a few questions for you.
Yes, sir.
And I take it I have your permission to ask you questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I
What the
appreciate it. And I
hell,
want to say
man?
for a start, there's no trick questions. If you don't understand something I'm saying, you want to slow down, just let me know, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, officer, you say that you've got, I think it's about approximately 5 years experience with the department now. Is that right?
Yes, sir. With employment.
Sorry,
with-
guys.
Yes, sir. I've been employed with the city for over 5 years, but on the streets it's a little less.
Okay, but you've been employed by San Antonio Police Department for 5 years.
Yes, sir.
And did you have any prior law enforcement experience before that?
No, sir.
So it would be fair to say that I guess it's 2024 now. You're in the academy at around 2019.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes.
And at the academy, I think you spoke earlier to the prosecutor about your training. You're trained on various things at the academy, right?
Yes, sir.
One of those is report writing,
Yes, sir.
and you're taught stuff about the penal code.
Yes, sir.
You're taught about to investigate scenes of crimes
Yes,
to a
sir.
certain extent initially, right, as a patrol officer.
Get the groundwork going. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and in this case, we're talking about investigating a crash.
Yes, sir.
Right, because you know how to investigate, get the groundwork going on an accident scene, right?
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree that all facts are important.
Yes, sir.
And I guess you'd agree with me that your report writing and the accuracy of your reports are important.
They are important, but usually my reports are summaries.
Yeah, there are summaries, right? I agree, because you can't write everything verbatim because it would be hundreds of pages long.
Yes, sir.
But it's important to put things in your report that matter to the investigation.
Yes, sir.
Because you rely on your reports.
I'm sorry?
You rely on your report, the accuracy of it.
Yes, sir.
Your supervisors rely on your reports.
Yes, sir.
And in this case, I guess, you know, you've spoken, the prosecutor spoke to you about it. Internal investigations, disciplinary people rely on your reports.
Yes, sir.
And today, this jury's relying on the accuracy of your reports, right?
Yes, sir. And body camera.
Yeah, because have you reviewed a copy of your report before today?
Yes, sir.
Have you got a copy in front of you now?
I do not, sir.
You don't. And you'd agree with me that it's important to write the totality of everything in your report.
I usually cover the basics, the important stuff. Yes, sir.
So you put it's important. You think in the interest, is it important for your reports to be fair?
Yes, sir.
It is, right? Because that encompasses that totality. So what I mean by fair is you put evidence of innocence in there as well as guilt. Do you do that?
Yes, sir. I put everyone's statements in said reports.
But other evidence that you collect and observe, do you put that in there?
Yes, sir.
Because it's important in a case like this that you don't miss anything.
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree with me, there are policies and procedures on and your training that governs how you deal with scenes like this.
Yes, sir.
Right. And they come from the San Antonio Police Department manual.
Yes, sir. Our general manual.
The general manual. So the general manual is a public document, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I can access it. Anyone can access it on the internet.
Yes, sir.
And there is a document or a general policy that discusses how to investigate crash scene, right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not talking about how TID do it, traffic investigations. I'm talking about for a patrol person, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember what the specific number is?
I couldn't give you the specific rules and the general manual number, sir.
If I were to tell you it's 707, do you have reasons without me? Just can I approach very briefly?
Yes.
It sounds familiar, sir.
I'm going to show you.
And counsel, did you show the document for the state?
I will be judging in a market.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why do you recognise it?
It's part of our general manual.
Have you seen it before?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, did you get trained on this policy in the academy?
Briefly, yes, sir.
Briefly, but you recognise it. And would you kindly leaf through it for me, please, see how many pages there are?
Five, sir.
5. And is it substantially the same as it was when you were trained on it, to your recollection?
When I was trained on it, looks like it was updated recently.
But that's the one that you were trained on, right?
2023, no, sir.
But that's the one in sorry, that is the one that is in, or that's the public document that is in force that controls now, right?
Yes, sir. It's been amended since I've been trained on it.
Okay. And it's not been altered in any way, to the best of your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to leave a copy of that give you right there. Because, I mean, you've been a patrol officer for how long? 5 years?
A little over 4, sir.
A little over 4. Sorry, you've been on the department for 5, patrol for 4.
Yes, sir, since 2019 of November.
Because what I want to talk about is your experience on the streets, right? Because I think one of the things you said that you get called to scenes, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Generally. And so you'd agree that one of your responsibilities, not just talking about that document there, when you go to a scene, is to gather evidence.
Yes, sir.
And one of those, what that means is you've got to identify witnesses.
Yes, sir.
And usually procedure says that you kind of, once everyone's kept safe, keeping people safe is the first priority, right?
Yes, sir. Make sure there's no other dangers to anyone else.
Yeah, and in a normal scene, if you go into a domestic violence scene, I guess that would be different to this, but you separate the parties and keep them safe.
As best as we can with what we have.
Best as you can, what you have, exactly, because you're only human, right?
Yes, sir.
And we all make mistakes from time to time.
Yes, sir.
And like you've been very honest with the jury, you've made mistakes in this case, right?
Yes, sir.
And we appreciate your candor, officer, we do. But everything you do and you're trained to do is for a reason, right?
Yes, sir.
And separating witnesses is so that you can speak to the first witness or however many witnesses are away from the second one.
As best as we can, yes, sir.
As best that you can.
It's not exactly the same, but it's reminding me, it's giving me Brian Albert. Yes, yes, yes.
Like in an ideal word, you separate the parties so you can say, hey, can you tell me what happened, please? Okay, without this person interjecting.
Sustained.
So you separate witnesses.
As best as we can, yes, sir.
And the reason you do that is that they don't talk to each other.
Yes, sir.
And they don't infect each other's version of events.
Yes, sir.
So they don't say to each other, tell people stuff that happened to add facts into their knowledge.
Yes, sir.
So that witness one isn't influenced by something witness two says.
That'd be correct, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and you'd agree that in this scene, you were here for some, how long were you at this scene?
With all parties involved, sir?
Yeah, with all, how long do you think? It was hours, right?
Total video, including the first crash, is about 7 hours.
Yes, hours and hours. So you were there for a long time. So you weren't the only officer there.
No, sir.
There were several officers there.
Yes, sir.
And everyone's got the same training.
Yes, sir.
There's a point I'm trying to make here is that you're trying to separate witnesses, but it's difficult.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes witnesses in a scene like this, they're walking around, they're talking to each other.
Yes, sir.
So it might not surprise you that that a witness might say something at the beginning when you speak to them. They give you a version of events at the beginning, and then hours later, when they've been talking to other witnesses and other officers, they might add things in.
It's a possibility, yes, sir.
Because that's what happened here, right?
I wouldn't know, sir.
Do you remember Mr. Castro, when you first spoke to him, he said some things about what happened, and then later on he said, well, the officer told me that it was a woman. I didn't know that before. Do you remember that bit?
I don't remember that, sir.
We can talk about that in a second. But I want to talk to you about your first involvement in this case. You told the prosecutor that you were called to your original call was for a wrong way driver.
It was for a major accident involving a wrong way driver, yes, sir.
And do you know who Shayna Alassal is?
She was the wrong way driver.
She was a wrong way driver. And do you remember speaking to her?
Yes, sir.
Now, you spent a short amount of time with Miss Alassal. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
But when you made your way to the scene, you had to drive through backed up traffic, correct?
I had to walk back, yes, sir.
So there you go. So you had to drive to the scene. We'll look at the body camera in a minute. You drove to the scene as far as you could, but you were driving, is it Northam 281?
Yes, sir. So
you made your way, you were the first officer to respond, is that right?
We were all pretty much in close proximity of each other when we were arriving.
So a call comes in and dispatch calls local officers and then they go, is that how it works?
Correct. They sent Officer Rodriguez and Officer Lechuga first, but since it was my square, I got off my break to go handle the call.
So, all right then, it was your square. So by your square, you talk about your patrol square?
Yes, sir, for the night.
Yeah, your district where you're assigned that square of territory, that's your space for the night to patrol.
It's not my specific space, but that's the one where I'm usually the primary officer. I still can respond to anywhere in the north side, and if there's a critical incident, we can go anywhere in the city.
Right, so of course, but that's you're the primary for that area. So you're the first one to get there.
Roughly, yes, sir.
Roughly. I mean, it was Officer Lechuga and Rodriguez.
Yes, sir. They were right
They're
behind.
kind of behind you. They arrived soon after.
Yes, sir.
Right, but was that State's exhibit? Go there. Can I look at States? Yeah. So what I want to do is I'll try and got some technical difficulties. I want to try and get this is your body camera, right?
Yes, sir.
Please been admitted into evidence of sex. So this is have you got your camera on you today?
No, sir. It's charging at the station.
Right, so you don't have to wear it to court, but you have it on your body and it's recorded when you have an interaction with the public, right?
If it's the same one that we had back then, yes, sir, because we've recently got new ones.
But it's on your body and it records everything that's happening.
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to see is you've arrived at the scene. Right.
From the map, it kind of looks like it, but it looks like I'm still on the way.
I'm sorry, I'm not in control of this, but we're gonna, so, right, okay, this is your arrival at the scene, fair enough?
Yes, sir.
So you're, can you pause it now? So you've been called to a major accident where a person was a wrong way driving your testimony, driving up the access road onto 281.
Main lane, sir.
Onto what, sorry?
I was driving on the main lanes and it forces everyone onto the access road.
Right, mainland?
Main lanes. I apologize. The freeway. Yes, sir.
So, but she's coming, if we can see the screen at the top there, the top right hand corner, this is kind of 281 traveling north, right?
Yes, sir.
And so what we're seeing now is the traffic. You can't take your vehicle any further, right?
No, sir.
Because although we can't see it, the traffic here is kind of 2 lanes, but it's going to go down to 1, right?
Further down. Yes, sir.
Further down, right? And then it goes from 2 lanes, which it is here, you can see on the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
And then it's going to go into 1, right?
Yes, sir.
And then that 1 is going to go off the exit ramp.
Yes, sir.
And that's where the wrong way driver has come up and had a collision.
Correct. They came from the
Right.
access road.
Sorry.
They came from the access road.
They come from the access road, obviously the wrong way on the access road, come the wrong way up the access of the exit ramp, right? They're driving the wrong way on the highway, right, okay. So this is where, at this point, you've parked your vehicle at the back of the traffic that's backed up.
Yes, sir.
Correct? And if we see the top right hand corner of you see the yellow triangle, it's really weird, the employee officer. There's a time up there, there's a timestamp. You'd agree with me on that, right?
Yes, sir.
It says axon body 3, then there's an X and some numbers, and above it, there's the date, right?
Yes, sir.
2022, 7/22, and 0156, it's written in military timing, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that basically tells us what time it is. So you're arriving there at 1:56 a.m. and 9 seconds, I think.
Yes, sir.
That's right, okay. And so this is as far as the traffic's up. So now, so what we're going to look at here is we're going to see you, if you bear with us, you're walking down now through several vehicles that are already piled up, right? The traffic is piled up. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
I mean, and that's as close as you can get in your car, right?
Yes, sir. At least from where we came from.
Yeah, and so because now here we see that the traffic is trying to go over to 2 lanes, and the traffic is already backed up, and you see reverse lights. People are moving their vehicles, right? They can't go anywhere, but you are approaching the accident scene for the first scene.
Yes, sir.
You said you were the handling officer
Yes, sir. Initially.
initially. So what does the handling officer mean? Officer? What does it mean to be the handling officer?
Basically, the one that's going to be writing the report.
So because you're first on scene or because it's your square?
Either or.
So it would be fair to say you get there first and you speak to Miss Alassel,
Yes, sir.
and then your other colleagues come and help you.
Yes, sir.
We might see them come and help you in a second. So you make an initial assessment of her, right?
Yes, sir.
And I believe I was kind of unsure with the testimony earlier. Did you speak to Miss Alassel?
Yes, sir.
Did you spend much time with her?
Not much time, sir. No.
So your interaction with her was kind of brief, right?
Yes, sir.
And they're not trick questions, officer. And you'd agree with me that the people who really spend time with her were Officer Rodriguez and Officer Machuga.
Yes, sir.
Because we're gonna. You keep what I'm saying. What we're saying here is how many vehicles already you have to walk past to go down to this scene, the first scene, the wrong way drive.
Yes, sir.
Have you counted how many vehicles it is?
No, sir.
How far do you think it was?
Maybe around 200 meters.
200 meters worth of vehicles end on end.
Yes, sir.
So this video still shows you walking down there. Because what does the policy tell you? What does your training tell you that you should be thinking about right now when you're approaching a major accident?
I'm trying to figure out where the crash is.
Right. Okay. So you're obviously, because you said this came as a major accident.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things you're supposed to do is call TID anyway, regardless of the casualties, right?
Yes, sir.
So you said that one of the things you're supposed to be thinking about is identifying where it is.
Yes, sir.
And what does the policy tell you? What does your training tell you about once you've identified the scene, what you're supposed to do then?
Speak to witnesses and try to clear up the roadway.
And here we are, we've identified. So speak to witnesses and try and clear up the roadway. And like we talked about witnesses, you identify them. I guess you deal with casualties as best you can.
Yes, sir.
And I'm talking about this one first, that's on the screen. This is Miss that's Miss Alassel's car.
Yes, sir.
Driven the wrong way up the access ramp.
Yes, sir.
Right. So your first priority is to see if there's any casualties.
Yes, sir.
And this is according to that policy that you've identified, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you said, did you say something about clearing up the roadway?
As best as we can. Yes,
And But I guess by that you mean that can mean a lot of things, right? That can mean clearing up debris off the road.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because there might be damaged bits of car that you've got to get out of the road that are going to cause damage.
It depends on the kind of crash that we have.
It depends on the kind of crash. And you'd agree with me that clearing up the roadway means providing notice to other drivers, right?
As best as we can, yes, sir.
As best you can. And in fact, that policy says that's the first priority, right?
I believe so, sir.
Well, according to your training, I mean, review it if you want. You can please take a look. Can I approach, Judge?
Yes.
We do. No, it's 'cause no, I don't need to, Judge. We've got the same. He's already got a copy. It might be easier. Read the paragraph forward in instance, right? Like I said, it's a public document.
Yes, sir.
It's designed to help you investigate, a guide for investigating accidents.
Yes, sir.
And you agree that when it says responding to crashes, the first officer arriving at the scene is you, right?
Yes, sir.
So the first officer's responsibilities are to warn of the crash to approaching vehicles.
Yes, sir.
As best you can, right? Because you're a human being.
Yes, sir.
But you'd agree with me that that's what that policy says. The first officer responding, their job is to warn other motorists.
Yes, sir.
As best they can. What ways do you, and we've seen them, the prosecutor showed you the video earlier and said, what do we see now that we don't see? What ways have you got at your disposal to warn other motorists of accidents?
We have our red and blues, we have our directional arrows, and then we also have flares.
So when you say you're red and blues, what you're saying to jury is you're talking about the emergency lights that go on top of the cars.
Yes, sir.
Right, and all patrol vehicles have them.
On top, most of them.
Most, I mean, maybe some don't, right? But most cars on patrol have. So there are other vehicles coming to your scene, right, with emergency lights, the red and blues.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's flares.
Yes, sir.
And do you have flares on board your vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Is it standard issue for people to have flares?
Yes, sir.
You know, patrol officers.
Yes, sir.
That's a standard kit in every vehicle. And what else do you have that you can put on?
A reflective vest
Reflective, is that what they call a reflective vest? And what is the point of that?
to ensure that we're on the roadway, and if we get hit, city will cover us.
Yeah, okay. It probably is it, right? So that the city will cover you if you're insured if you get hit. But you'd agree with me, it's also to warn people because they're reflective, and if lights hit them, it kind of says police and stuff, right? That's the other ways to warn, right?
Yes, so that there's a pedestrian there.
Yeah, and this isn't a criticism, but you'd agree with me that you went to that scene, you're the first one there, but no one ever did anything to warn the vehicles behind you.
We had our red and blues on.
You had your red and blues on, but let's go back over very briefly, have a look at that body camera again. Can we? You had your red and blues on. So do you remember what time this call came in? It doesn't matter if you don't know roughly.
The first crash,
The first crash,
155.
155. So it's taking you a minute to get there. It's 156 now. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So it's taking you 1 minute to get there. You're gonna get out your car. This is from 1 minute, right? You've got your red and blue flashes on. You're the first one responding. So your priority is to go to the scene.
Yes, sir.
And your priority is to make sure no one's injured at that first scene right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we can see the build up in 1 minute. I didn't count them, but you've gone through 200 meters worth of traffic.
Yes, sir.
So for every minute, I mean, I'm not asking you to commit to this, but for every minute that you spend at that first accident, what's going on behind you? Because what road are you on there?
The exit ramp from Marshall Road.
But what highway is that?
281.
It's a highway.
Yes, sir.
Right, and there's people traveling on it.
Yes, sir.
So for every minute you spend at that accident, what's happening behind you?
Traffic's building up.
Traffic's building up. It's building up every minute. So you've got this call came at 155, at 156, there's 200. I think that makes a point there. So for in 1 minute, just to your estimation, because you were there, there's 200 meters worth of traffic built up.
Yes, sir.
I'm not asking you to do any math. I'm not going to ask you to do any math. I'm bad at math, right? But you'd agree with me. You were it was around 2:20 when the second incident happened.
Yes, sir.
Right, and that's around 23 minutes after you first got there.
Yes, sir.
Right, and so you arrived on scene at the first accident within a minute, and there was 200 meters worth of traffic.
Yes, sir.
Right, so after 23 minutes on scene, what was going on behind your car?
The second crash happened
But where did it happen?
further south of us.
Further south. Approximately how further south?
I would say maybe 200 meters. I'm not an expert.
Probably a bit more than that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, probably quite a bit more than 200 meters off the right.
Yes, I did measure whenever I went there.
Yeah, because you had to walk and then you could run. We'll have a look on the video in a minute, but it was quite a distance.
Yes, sir.
Right. And I know that what you wrote in your report and that you noted in your report that You noted him. You have a copy of the report in front of you?
Not with me right now,
You
sir.
reviewed it today?
I haven't reviewed it today, sir. My report.
Well, I'm just going to get a clean
No,
copy.
I have a report.
Excuse me, everyone. This is what I want everybody to do.
Uh-oh.
Court reporter cannot hear. Everybody needs to stop whispering. Everybody needs to speak up so the court reporter can hear and so that the jury can hear. So ask your question.
Sorry, Judge,
Secret
I can't remember
secrets
what I was going to say.
are no
Do you have your
fun.
report?
Not with me. Your
Secret
Honor.
He does not have
secrets
his
hurt
report with
someone.
him.
Would you
Stop
have to go look at
whispering.
it
Yes, sir.
to refresh your memory? I'm just trying to. So we're looking at this front page here has got some like biographical data on the top, time, place, and where this happened.
The approximate location, yes, sir.
Yeah, and the bottom part. I'm sorry to reach over your answer. The bottom bit's called the narrative.
Yes, sir.
Right, like you said earlier, this is a summary of what's going on
Yes, sir.
because you can't write everything.
Yes, sir.
But these are your main thoughts and recollection. Did you write this when this incident was fresh in your mind?
Yes, sir.
And did you write this before you go off duty that day?
Yes, sir.
And is that your policy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. And it details, I want to draw your attention to page 2 if you'll turn over. There's a second paragraph. I want you to read that and then look up.
Take care, Chris. Thanks for being here, man.
Can you have a look
Look
at the
forward to
paragraph, the
tomorrow.
last couple of sentences?
Counsel, you want to mark that so that the record can be clear?
Chris Duet's going to be on Publicly Buzz tomorrow, folks. You don't want to miss it.
I understand.
I think that's tomorrow, right?
Well, Mark, that
Was that today?
Defense too.
Is that today?
Yeah, just
That's
draw
on
attention to
Kick.
Page 2 and I'll sit down there. So you agree that your perceptions of this incident, by the time you went to the second
Tonight,
crash
folks. My bad.
with
Tonight.
Masiba, there was
Publicly Buzz.
a lot of
Kick.
traffic lined up on the highway.
Yes, sir.
Now you would agree with me that nobody from SAPD went to the back of the traffic to try and close the road at that point.
After the first crash or the second crash?
Well, after the first crash, your vehicle was there
Yes, sir.
with your red and blue flashes on, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you call them? Not red and blue flashes. What are they called?
Emergency lights?
Emergency lights. You had your emergency lights on, but then you have walked 200 meters down to the sea with Mr. Lassell.
Yes, sir. I wasn't aware exactly where the crash happened.
No, and I'm not saying you should be, but you've gone and located it, and you've seen that there were no casualties, and you've spoken to the drivers very briefly,
Yes, sir.
right? But then your colleagues come and you leave her, Mr. Lassell, and the other parties to deal with that while you go and start writing your report.
That and to make sure everyone had valid licenses.
Yeah, and you're doing your investigation, right? And that's what you're supposed to be doing. But then you go and sit in your car, and you're in your car for 20 minutes, and nobody from the San Antonio Police Department thinks, hey, hold on a minute, you've been sitting here for 20 minutes. Let's warn the drivers behind you because traffic's backing up.
Sustained.
Let's look at the video. Let's look at your body cam.
All right, let's pause here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you all your lunch break. We're going to come back at 1:30 and we're going to continue with testimony. Remember my instructions. Do not think about this case outside of this courtroom. Do not do any investigation. Do not view anything. Do not talk to each other. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Well, when I say do not talk to each other, I mean about the case. All right. All right. If you can meet us, please, and we can go off record. There are many.
No, we want to hear Judge Boyd.
The second crash happened?
All right. Well, it doesn't matter because this is from yesterday. We don't have to wait. We can catch up. So this is part 1. You want part 2? And then I believe they're coming back at 2:30 Eastern today to continue. But we're going to go to part 2 right now.
And so you arrived on scene.
Did I just go back to part 1? I did. You're a dope. You dope. Dope, dope, dope. Part 2. Okay. Now, I'm going to pause this to see if I can finally figure out why my program is not letting me. I'm going to try to get a tickler on here. For folks who don't know what that is, it's a ticker to show what we're doing, but it's been messing up. So let's see. Why is this not working? All right. I think I have it here. I'm going to bring this over here. We're going to put Judge Boyd trial. We're going to put State versus Alexander Castro. Vehicular Manslaughter case. And we're going to make that a scrolling ticker. Good 24. We're going to add it. There it is. It's going way too fast. Bring this up here. Whoops. Thanks for sticking with me while I talk you through this. We're going to save it here. There it is. We're going to put this up here. Some people look at it, some people don't, but now hopefully people will see if they come in. This is from yesterday, and it's going to resume today. Thanks for being here as we continue the State versus Alexander Castro, part 2 from yesterday. I was hoping to get it all done by when they start today. I may be able to. Let's see. We got to go fast forward through this. This is all waiting.
And so what we've seen there is that on the way you've encountered a. Wait,
is the jury back? Oh, all right. The waiting is the hard.
Jasmine Ogden, she will be.
Daniel Escobar and Jason Garahan, State
Defense.
Gary Hillier and Jasmine Ogden, she will be right back, Judge.
All right. Are parties ready to proceed?
Ready, Judge, from defense.
Ready for State, Judge.
All right, let's bring the jurors in.
All right, for the jury.
You will bring the jury.
By the way, this is a 1.25. If you're wondering if it seems a little fast.
Still your witness on cross. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hey, officer, how you doing?
You're good, sir.
So I think we've just got to the point, we dealt with the policy that you're aware of the policy we're dealing with traffic accidents, right?
Yes, sir.
And the need to warn vehicles and oncoming traffic of any danger.
Yes, sir.
Using either your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Or flares.
Yes, sir.
Right, so what we're seeing now, I think this is State's 1 or 2?
2.
State's Exhibit 2, this is your body camera, right? So I think the timestamp on it is 2:07:26. This is your camera, right? And this is you walking away from the first scene, the wrong way driver, right, back to your car.
Yes, sir.
And we'll fast forward it because we don't want to waste the court's time, but it probably takes you 3 minutes to walk back to your car. Would you agree with that? It takes the time.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. What we're seeing now, you'd agree, is the traffic that was backed up from the first accident.
Yes, sir.
You parked your car behind, right?
Yes, sir.
And so what we've seen there is that on the way you've encountered a witness from the first incident, right? I don't want to hear what they said, but that's what happened there that we just saw.
No, sir. That was the husband of the wife.
Yeah, from the first incident.
Yes, sir.
The first accident, a witness, a person involved slightly in that first incident approached you, you spoke to him, that's what that person was?
Just by relation, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and now you're still walking to your car, and it's taking you nearly 3 minutes to walk back, right?
Yes, because he left his kids in the car, so I wanted to escort him back to his car.
Yeah, quite right, because the kids are in a running car, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's the car on the left-hand side.
Yes, sir.
Stuck in the traffic jam that's been caused by the accident.
Yes, sir.
Right. And your car is still further back behind that. And your car's towards us, right? You walk past your car, you're going to walk back to your car, right?
Yes, sir.
And so here it's 11 minutes past 2 in the morning. The fatal accident still hasn't happened. That's your car there, right? That we see in the screen.
It looks like it, sir. I had to look at the vehicle number.
Well, we'll look in a second because I think you get into it, right? But you can see on the screen there is a line of traffic behind your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm not suggesting it goes onto the horizon, but as far as the video is concerned, that line of traffic, I'm sorry, Jason, that line of traffic goes on as far as we can see on the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And to the best of your knowledge, because you're not there alone, right? You're not the only officer at that scene.
No, sir.
That no one, dispatch hasn't sent someone to the back of that line of traffic.
No, sir. We didn't ask for more.
All right. Well, so you didn't ask for one, but no one else thought, oh, I know what we should do because of our policy. Someone needs to go and warn traffic.
Correct, but all of our cars are trapped in the traffic as well.
But there are other vehicles. What I'm saying is there are other vehicles in North Patrol that could have come and helped you out, right?
It's a possibility. I don't know which officers were available.
I know. I'm not saying that you do, but my point is that no one came and helped you.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Apart from the other 2 officers that went to the scene.
The original 3 of us, yes, sir. That were just.
Yeah. Dispatch didn't send someone to the back of that line of traffic extending into the distance.
No, sir.
Because at the time you're walking back there, you're aware of that policy 707, right?
Yes, sir.
You're aware of the need to, because we said everything in these policies is for a reason, right?
Yes, sir.
It's probably because sometimes people are distracted or whatever, but they run up on accident scenes and they need to be warned, right?
Yes, sir.
And no one has warned them. Oncoming traffic.
Just the initial few that made the scene.
Yeah, but no one has warned that traffic behind you. at the end of that traffic line, have they?
They weren't aware of a crash, but they were aware that traffic was stopped.
Well, but yeah, I didn't ask you that. But no police car was parked at the back of that line of traffic with the flashing lights.
No, sir. The new line, no, sir.
There were no flares at the back.
No, sir.
You didn't ask anybody to do that.
No, sir.
You didn't do that.
No, sir.
Your colleagues could have done. Right?
If we had available, yes, sir.
But yeah, I know, but there's not just three of you on duty that night. Right? It's not just you, Officer Lechuga and Officer Rodriguez, is there?
No, sir. There's
No.
more.
So there are other people who could have done it.
If they're available, yes, sir.
It's not just you, officer, is it?
No, sir.
No, you're a team, you're a whole department. So someone could have done it
Yes, sir.
and they didn't.
Like I said, I don't know if they're available or not.
I know. We don't know if they're available. What I'm saying is no one warned the people at the back of that line of traffic that there was a wreck.
No, sir.
Thank you. Right. And so you go, we're stopped at 2:11, and I think that your testimony before was that you were completing your computer checks, as is your policy and procedure, right, in your car. And I think the next thing that happened is that you had stated that Officer Lechuga and maybe Officer Rodriguez ran to your position because they presumed that you'd been involved in a wreck.
Yes, sir.
Right. And obviously you can't testify for them, but they presumed that because they thought you were the last vehicle in that line of traffic, right? Probably.
I can't think for them, sir. But they just presumed that I was involved in a crash.
They presume that you're probably because you're at the back and they think someone's come and slammed into you, right?
I'm going to object to speculation.
Sustained.
But you said that they presume you're involved in a wreck and you weren't, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is about 2:22. And then, so what you did then is you got out of your car and you, I think it's about 2:20 on the time stamp. Here we are. So there we are. Right, stop there. So this is you doing stuff on your mobile data terminal, or whatever you call it, computer, right in the car.
Yes, sir.
And you're probably inputting stuff and doing checks on the first folks, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this is when your colleagues come up to you and say, "Hey, did you hear that?" Or whatever they said, right?
Yes.
And based on the information they told you, you start making your way. I guess would it be south on 281?
Yes, sir. Southbound and northbound.
Okay, and then we can at 2:19:36. I think we might have to. That's you actually filling out a ticket on the screen right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right, and this is, so if we pause for a second, we're at 2:23:42, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is your colleagues informing you that they'd heard that there might have been another accident.
Yes, sir.
So this is about 20, so I think we said that you'd arrived at 1:56
Yes, sir.
on scene, so you were originally the last vehicle in the line of traffic. That was as far as you could drive to walk down towards the scene of the wrong way driver.
Yes, sir.
23 minutes have passed since then.
Yes, sir.
So you've got 23 minutes worth of highway traffic parked up behind you.
Yes, sir.
At this point, you make your way on foot, you start to walk, you said, and then you run when you identify there's been a crash. Is that kind of what happens next?
Yes, sir.
And we're going to play the video at 2:23. 44, that's Officer Lechuga and Rodriguez, and then you're going to start moving off, right?
Yes, sir.
Whose vehicle is that in the shot there?
It was one of theirs.
Okay. And this one we're looking at now is yours, right?
It looks to be, yes, sir.
Yeah. And so now what we're doing is we're watching you walk. We're going to watch you walk through the traffic that has blocked up or built up behind your car to the scene for Mr. Castro, right?
Yes, sir.
And is Mr. Castro the first person that you encountered that was involved in the wreck?
No, sir.
He wasn't? Okay. It was the driver of the HGV truck?
No, sir. It was the driver of the Volkswagen.
Volkswagen, yeah, right. So you can walk in 2 minutes, maybe. At this point, the timestamp is 2:25.
Yes, sir.
I think you left your car at 2:23.
It's roughly about that, yes, sir.
2:23, so it's roughly 2 minutes, and you're walking past high-sided vehicles on the screen there.
Yes, sir.
And you're still not at the end of the line of traffic that's built up behind that initial crash, or behind your vehicle.
No, sir.
Right. Right, okay. And so what we've seen is there's been a change in your method of approach, you're now running, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's because you've identified the fact that there's been another wreck.
Yes, sir.
Right, and that's at 2:25:40. And you see, you'd agree with me, officer, that on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see it in front of you, right?
Yes, sir.
On the right-hand side of the screen, there's like a high-sided box kind of truck on the right there.
Yes, sir.
And there's another vehicle. But again, that line of traffic has continued from the back of your car and it's still extended far back, right? As far as we can see.
Yes, sir.
And you've now been on foot for nearly 3.5, 4 minutes, walking through that traffic backlog, right?
Yes, sir.
And you can now just about see the wreck in the distance, yep?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Right, and we're going to pause it there at 2:26:21, and that is that gentleman that you're talking to. I don't know what he's saying. I don't want to know, but that's the gentleman who was driving the Volkswagen.
Yes, sir.
So would it be fair to say that you didn't finish investigating the first crash, did you?
No, sir.
Because you got distracted by this.
Yes, sir.
And this one was much more serious, right?
Yes, sir.
That kind of explains why you didn't finish the first one.
Yes, sir.
Right, so this is you speaking to the first driver that you encounter,
Yes, sir.
and then we're going to fast forward to when you meet my client, if we can. Please. Thank you. So it's 2:26:48. So, officer, right. You've never met Mr. Castro before?
No, sir.
Never met him since?
No, sir.
No. And so you know through your training experience, you went to the academy like how many years ago? 5 years ago, we said?
Roughly, yes, sir.
You how many DWIs have you investigated?
Over a dozen, sir. I don't know the exact number.
Yeah, over a dozen, right? Okay. And so you've done, I imagine, how many investigations have you done into driving while intoxicated?
Quite a few, sir.
Quite a few. I mean, I don't want you. Is it more than 20?
It would be safe to say, but like I said, I don't have an exact number.
Because what I'm going to say is, what I mean, where I'm trying to go with that is, with your training experience, you know it when you see it, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you use in your initial interaction with a member of the public, when you either stop them or come across them, like here, is you're using your senses, right?
Yes, sir.
And that includes using your eyes,
Yes, sir.
using your ears,
Yes, sir.
right, and using your smell. And this might sound overly simplistic, but these are some of the things that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration talks about, and that's NHTSA, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's the government organisation that it's the organisation that trains officers in the detection of intoxicated drivers.
Yes, sir.
And you're trained on their manuals.
Briefly, yes, sir.
Yeah, you are. That's the only training that you get from NHTSA, right?
Yes, sir.
And they talk about clues. You look for clues in an individual to see if they're intoxicated, right?
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree with me there are 10 post-stop cues or clues.
I wouldn't know the exact number.
If I tell you that there are 10 listed in the manual, would you have any reason to doubt me?
I would have no reason to doubt you right now, sir.
No. But what I'm going to say is that they are slurred speech, right?
Yes, sir.
The odor of intoxicants coming off their breath,
Yes, sir.
right? Because someone who has a drink, it goes into their mouth and into their stomach and it gets metabolized, right? You know that from your training experience.
Yes, sir.
And then what comes from that is the odor comes back up through the stomach, and you can't tell what they've been drinking, right?
Not really, sir.
You can't say if someone's had wine or beer, right? Unless it's in their mouth still.
Correct. Yes, sir.
It's just the odor of metabolized alcohol.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't notice any of those on Mr. Castro.
No, sir.
Now, this is just the initial interaction you have with him. I stopped it for a reason, because you spend some time with him, a few seconds now, but over your interaction, you're at the scene with him for nearly 4 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've been interviewed about this case a lot.
Yes, sir.
And you've maintained throughout there were no signs of intoxication from Alex Castro, right?
From my view, no, sir.
In your experience, I'm not asking you to tell anyone else, but you've arrested people for DWI.
Plenty of times, yes, sir.
Plenty of times, right? And in your report, you routinely say he had red bloodshot eyes, or she had red bloodshot glossy eyes, right?
Depending on what I observe, yes, sir.
And these are some of the common observations. Red bloodshot glossy eyes is one of them.
Yes, sir.
Slurred speech is one of them,
Yes, sir.
right? And Judge, mate, you said I can move around the court, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you. Right? Being unsteady on your feet is one of them, right? That's an observation that comes.
Well, I mean, you can move around the courtroom if you're approaching the witness,
Oh,
but if
okay.
you're doing demonstrations.
Thank you. Being unsteady on their feet is one of them.
Yes, sir.
Staggering is one of them.
Yes, sir.
And the point I'm trying to make, you didn't notice any of that with Mr. Castro.
No, sir.
And the importance of that is you now know, right, at the time, you're just doing your initial investigation of the second crash. And you don't even know that Ms. Sealer is very badly injured at this point, right? But right?
At this point, yes, sir.
But what you find out shortly after is that Mr. Castro had been in a wreck where his vehicle was like not rolled end on end, but it's kind of rolled side on side.
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree with me that according to your training and experience, that can bring on that rotational effect on the body and the inner ear can bring on what's called horizontal gaze nystagmus, right?
Yes, sir.
And that is one of the primary clues that you look for in a DWI investigation.
For individuals under depressants, yes, sir.
Or for DWI, with either through alcohol or drugs, right?
Depressant drugs.
Yeah, maybe, but like either one, you'd expect to see nystagmus in the eyes, right? Sometimes.
If it's alcohol or a depressant drug, yes, sir.
You'd expect to see somebody intoxicated, and you might also see that in somebody who's been like spun around really quick on a circus ride.
Correct.
It's called rotational nystagmus, right? According to NHTSA.
Yes, sir.
There's also post-rotational nystagmus, right? Where kind of like where somebody's been spun and the inner ear's been spun and their gyroscope is off, and it can cause your eye to jump.
Yes, sir.
That can happen as well. And you didn't notice that in Mr. Castro when you meet him now, right?
No, sir.
Because you'd agree with me that we've been watch this video, he's literally getting out of the car. That accident just happened.
Yes, sir.
And if he was going to have any of those signs, he's going to have them then.
Yes, sir.
So you're the best person on that scene that we've got depicted here to notice any signs of intoxication by him. Mr. Castro.
Yes, sir.
Because you qualified by your training experience, you've done this dozens of times.
Yes, sir.
You know it when you see it.
Most of the time, yes, sir.
Most of the time, yeah. If you're human, you get it wrong, but you didn't notice it in him, right?
No, sir.
Can they play the video to you?
What's up, man? I'm okay. What happened? I know everybody stopped. Yeah.
So, I was going to say, but this hand was in the way. So you see, behind him, you see all the airbags deployed, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so in a normal investigation, because there are different ways that officers can come into contact with members of the public, right?
Yes, sir.
You can do like a consent, a normal search, or a normal encounter with somebody where they say, officer, can I talk to you about something? That would be called a consent encounter.
Yes, sir.
There can be one where you say, hey, you're speeding or you're not wearing a seatbelt, and that would be a traffic stop, right?
Yes, sir.
Or something like this, which is called a community caretaking.
Yes, sir.
Community caretaking, I'm sorry. Where, you're there to make sure everyone's safe.
Yes, sir.
But in your report, you would notice, if it was a DWI investigation, which it's not.
I'm sure this doesn't happen, but I feel that the court reporter should type all the defense attorney's words in italics so everyone knows he has a British accent.
You would report, you're trained to observe how people get out of vehicles, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because that's called initial contact, according to NHTSA.
Yes, sir.
Or personal contact. So a DWI investigation is split up into phases, right?
Correct.
There's the vehicle in motion.
Yes, sir.
Stopping sequence, right?
Yes, sir.
Where you stop and then an exit sequence, right? So what we've just watched, or what we're watching now, is called the exit sequence, called the exit, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're trained to note in your report, and in fact, you make no observations in your report that Mr. Castro had any difficulty getting out of his car.
No, sir.
You're trained to say if they stumble, right?
Yes, sir.
If they can't get a seatbelt on.
Yes, sir.
If they've got any kind of problems with their motor functions, which might indicate intoxication.
Yes, sir.
If they're holding onto the door pillar to get out of the car.
Yes, sir.
If they get out of the car and they have to lean on the car.
Yes, sir.
You're trained to, that's what I mean, there's all these clues that you're trained to observe.
Yes, sir.
And you probably regularly observe these with members of the public.
More than I would like to, yes, sir.
And we can agree that this is about as serious an incident you can ever go to as an officer, right?
One of them, yes, sir.
Yeah, and it is. And you didn't notice any of those things with Mr. Castro.
No, sir.
Now, so he speaks to you here, and you get an initial account of what happens, and then you say, hey, there's another car, and you leave, right?
Yes, sir.
But,
Over there. Yeah, I ate my base and everybody stopped and I couldn't stop talking about it. Oh, no, gosh.
so you see one to the rear of Mr. Castro's vehicle, which is very damaged. You see one of your colleagues running off because they probably identified him as Sealer, right?
They observed the vehicle, yes,
They
sir.
observed the vehicle. Yeah, I'm sorry. They observed a very badly damaged vehicle with someone injured in it. So they're running off, and you say, "Oh, I'm going to go," right?
Yes, sir.
But are you aware of what's perceptual distortions to you? The phrase perceptual distortions.
Perceiving something that may be farther than it actually is.
Well, what about auditory exclusion? You know what that is, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, what's that?
Basically, when you're under high levels of stress, you lose your sense of hearing.
So perceptual distortions, right? You've been trained on that at the academy.
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. And would you agree with me that would be where you under, did you say high level? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Auditory exclusion is where sometimes your hearing closes down. What did you say? Sorry, officer.
High levels of stress.
Under high levels of stress, right? You'd agree with me that that man on the screen, I mean, despite what's happened, he's been in a rollover accident, right?
Yes, sir.
So right now, he doesn't really know what's going on.
I'm gonna object to speculation.
Sustained.
But you know what auditory exclusion is?
Yes, sir.
And you know that stressful through your training experience. In fact, you felt that in this incident yourself, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
You remember being interviewed and you told people that that's what you experienced in this incident.
Yes, sir.
Right, because it must be terribly stressful, right?
Yes, sir.
For everybody involved.
Yes, sir.
Right. And that means that sometimes you can perceive things differently because of the stress that comes on you.
Yes, sir.
Right. So from now you run to Ms. Siebert, right?
Yes, sir.
And you help there. Okay. But eventually you come back. So what you're going to do is go to the other vehicle.
I got EMS coming to check you out. Prepare with me.
Yeah. Because there you go. We're going to pause it there real quick. This is you at Ms. Siebert's vehicle. The prosecutor asked you earlier about the vehicles that were slowing down, because now you're basically, this accident has happened and there's vehicles building up behind it right now as we speak, right? While we're watching it, as you perceive it in real time, there were vehicles breaking and coming up to this accident. There was traffic building up again behind it.
Yes, sir.
Right, and the prosecutor asked you, you said that you, at this point, I believe about this point, if we play it, you're trying to slow that traffic down.
Trying to get their attention. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and how are you doing that at this point?
Using my flashlight and trying to shine it at them.
Yeah, and so how are you going to motion something? You had your flashlight in your hand.
Yes, sir.
And you were flashing it at traffic.
Yes, sir.
And what was that to do?
Try to get their attention.
And also, because the prosecutor asked you, were they slowing down?
When I got their attention, yes.
Yeah. So you needed to get their attention to slow them down.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because it's not a trick question. There's still vehicles coming at you. Despite the second accident, there's a line of traffic approaching behind you, and you're still having to slow them down with your flashlight.
Yes, sir.
And that's actually working, right?
To a degree, yes, sir.
To a degree, yeah. I mean, thank goodness it wasn't another accident. But at this point, there's still no one stopping traffic. You're the only one now with your flashlight, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
See if we can see that.
I don't know, man, but I think this guy has proved his point.
Because look, you've got vehicles driving through the debris there. Keep going. There you go, stop. So that you can see that what we just saw there is that you've still got, but there's still a need, officer, because otherwise you wouldn't have done it, right? For you to shine your flashlight on people, even though there's uniformed police cars with a very severely damaged car, you still felt the need at the time to flash at people to slow them down.
That was all we had at the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's all you had. That's all you could do. Your car stuck down there. But you'd agree with me that what should have happened is someone should have been behind you warning traffic, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and in fact, Mr. Escobar asked you, and I believe it was later on, he said to you something along the lines of, what's the difference now on your Coban? Can you switch to stage one, Daniel? I don't know. 301, and the Coban is your dash camera. We're gonna fast forward it because, like you said, you were there for 7 hours. It's very long. So what's happened here? This is your dash cam, right?
Yes, sir.
Also known as a Coban for San Antonio Police.
Back then, yes, sir.
Right, it's not called that anymore?
No, sir.
Oh, it's your dash cam. Right, it's your dash cam. This is a forward-facing camera. Now, what's happened here is you've driven around and you're repositioning your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
The prosecutors asked you, Mr. Escobar asked you, are you going, you're on 281 now, right? What we're looking at here.
Yes, sir.
Are you heading south or north? Have you done the turnaround yet?
It looks like I've done the turnaround because it looks like TBC exits right there.
Okay, I didn't mean to talk over it. So TPC exit, I can't see that, but you're heading back to the accident scene.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the prosecutor said to you, what's different?
Yes, sir.
And you said the road's closed, right? Because we've got some flashing warning signs ahead, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what are they? What can we see on the left-hand side of the screen from the left-hand barrier?
Flares.
Flares. And what are they for?
To help get people's attention.
And that's now the scene is properly secure.
To the best of our ability, yes, sir.
So, but obviously, everything's to the best of your ability, right? But that's when the prosecutor's saying to you, what's the difference now? Well, the highway is closed and the scene is safe.
Yes, sir.
And if it had been like this before, then is to the best of your ability or someone else's ability in the police, not just you, if someone else had,
I'm going to object to testimony.
Sustained.
if somebody had followed that policy, there's a policy, right, 707?
Yes, sir.
And the first thing in 707 is called responding to crashes.
Yes, sir.
Part of it says about the first thing is under that heading, this public document that you discussed is that you're to move a vehicle and use the flashing lights.
Yes, sir.
Right. And that's to warn people about the crash.
Yes, sir.
Right. And to protect people from injury.
Yes, sir.
Right. And that didn't happen, but it's happened now.
I withdraw my objection.
You can answer that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that it's happened now. So the scene is secure.
Yes, sir.
If this had happened before, it might have prevented that.
I'm going to object to speculation.
Sustained.
Should this, the way the scene looks now, should the scene have looked like this before, according to your policy?
It would have been an option. Yes, sir.
Objection to speculation.
That'll be overruled.
So it would have been an option.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it would have been an option, but you agree with me that according to your policy, that's what should have been happening.
I'm going to object to speculation.
That'll be overruled.
You can answer. So according to your policy, I'm not asking you to speculate, oh, well, this or that should have
All
happened.
right, counsel, please just ask the question.
According to your policy, this is the way, what we're seeing now at 30137, this scene is properly secured and there's sufficient warning to oncoming traffic.
Yes, sir.
Right, and that's what it should have looked like before.
I'm going to object to speculation.
That'll be overruled.
According to your policy, you can answer, officer, please.
Yes, sir. That would have been.
And then, so I want to talk to you about something else that we talked about earlier, and I want to revisit it. So we said that one of the purposes of an investigation, or one of the things to do in an investigation, is split witness stuff.
Yes, sir.
And it's difficult to do, right?
Yes, sir.
And you do it to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir.
Right, but there came a time when you'd agree, and we watched the video earlier, Mr. Castro said you go back to him at around 3:10, like an hour maybe later, and he then says to you, hey, you've asked him several times what's happening and what's happened, and originally he doesn't know he's hit something, right? And then he's landed on the Volkswagen. Right, that's kind of what he said the first time.
He said he believed he hit the truck.
Yeah, okay, right, you're right. Sorry, thank
All
you.
right, so everyone, I'm going to say this for the last time. The court reporter can only take down one person at a time. So, question needs to be asked. After the question is asked, witness will answer, and then the next question will be asked. I know sometimes we talk conversationally, but when we're talking conversationally, court reporter can't take down everything, and jurors can't hear everything. All right, ask your next question.
I'm sorry, I'm coming. Yes, so yeah, Mr. Castro said that he thought he hit the truck, and the truck being is that there was an HEB truck and trailer there, right?
Yes, sir.
In fact, he did kind of hit it a little bit. He kind of bumped into it.
According to TID's investigation, yes.
Yeah, and do you know that from speaking to your colleagues at the scene?
After TID made scene, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not asking you, I know you're not a crash reconstructionist, I know you're not, but from talking to your colleagues, you know that he did actually come to rest and touch that truck.
Yes, sir.
And you know that his vehicle went airborne and landed on the Volkswagen.
Yes, sir.
And his initial account was, I hit him, I don't know how, to that effect, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's his initial effect, comments to you when you pull him out of his car, out of his truck. He didn't know how he went airborne, but he knew he was in the air.
He didn't mention he was airborne the first time, but he just said he hit the brakes.
Yeah, hit the brakes and then he's in the air. Right, so right.
Around the third time when I talked to him, he said he rolled.
Yeah, because you spoke to him several times.
Yes, sir.
And eventually you get to a point when he tells you that he didn't know what he flipped on, and he didn't know it was a woman in that other vehicle till one of the other officers had told him, right?
I don't know. I wasn't there when he mentioned that.
If we show you a video, your body camera, would it refresh your memory?
It'll refresh my memory where it happened, but
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
Okay, well,
Excuse me. So is someone seeking to refresh his memory?
We're just gonna watch the video again, Judge.
No, my question is someone seeking to refresh your memory? Because if someone is seeking to refresh your memory, then the jury needs to step outside while a memory is being refreshed, unless no one has any objections to a memory being refreshed contrary to the rules.
We can excuse the jury, Judge, if that helps.
No, I mean,
A judge, no objection from the state.
all right, you can refresh his memory in front of the jury if it can.
That's pretty funny. Judge Boyd is clearly not happy with the state not objecting there, and they still didn't object. If I was the state and it was Judge Boyd, I'd be like, "You're right, Judge Boyd. Objection."
And I'm like, where's you at? And I'm like trying to put in my GPS. And that little Honda just like came into me and like slid over me. What do you mean the Honda slid into you? I don't know. She came like into me. Like, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what she was doing. Or I didn't know it was her actually. So, thanks for responding to her. Yeah. So, okay.
So, yeah, that was you talking to Mr. Castro, right?
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree that he says that he didn't even know it was a girl or a her until another officer told him that it was.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Right. So he's been given that information by someone else.
Yes, sir.
In fact, a police officer, maybe.
And possibly I wasn't.
I'm just saying, because it's difficult scene to keep people separate and isolated. Right?
Yes, sir.
And so at this point, was he free to leave?
No, sir.
No. And so, because if he'd have tried to, because earlier you said that he was asking one of your colleagues, he being Mr. Castro, asked if he could leave, and he was told he couldn't, right?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
2 hours after, it was 2 hours after the fact.
Sounds about right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so if he'd have, I know he didn't, but if he'd have, in your training experience and you as an officer, if he'd have tried to run away, what would you have done?
Run back to the scene.
You just run after him and stopped him, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's not a trick question, I promise. And you'd agree with me that he said, "Hey, I don't mind giving you a statement, but can I go?" Words to that effect.
To that effect, yes, sir.
Yeah, and he said, "Words to the effect of my wife's here. Can I go and see my wife?"
He did mention that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and he wasn't allowed to go and see his wife.
No, sir.
No. And you, in fact, at one point told one of your colleagues, "Look, I can't cut him loose."
Yes, sir.
And by that, I imagine that's a police term for like, I can't let him go. Right.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so, the jury might not know that, but there are no magic words for arresting somebody, are there, in your job? You have to say you're under arrest.
I'm going to object to that's a legal conclusion.
Sustained.
So yeah, you don't have to tell someone they're under arrest for them to be under arrest, right?
I'm going to object that's a legal conclusion.
Any other objections?
No, Judge.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can answer the question.
Sorry. Officer, when you arrest people, do you say, "Hey, you're under arrest"?
Yes, sir.
You do, so you do.
Yes, sir.
Do you have to?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
No, right. You don't have to say you're under arrest for this offense.
I'm going to object to relevance.
All right, that'll be sustained. And the question has already been asked and answered as well.
But either way, at this point, Mr. Castro is not free to leave. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Four.
I'm going to object to asked and answered.
Sustained.
But the time at this point when he's not free to leave is 4:21.
That sounds about
All
right.
right, the objection has been sustained.
Oh, sorry, guys. That's a different question. But that wasn't the last time people spoke to Mr. Castro about what happened.
That is correct.
Right, after he'd been told he can't leave.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
So he's not under arrest at this point.
No, sir.
It's yours. But he's being detained.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible that he thinks he's under arrest?
I'm going to object to speculation.
Sustained.
Yeah, that's speculation. I was thinking that too. Call him up there to testify if you want him what he thought about.
Mr. Castle witness, thank you.
State, redirect.
Very brief, Judge. You were dealing with that first accident for about 20 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How many other accidents occurred while you were out there dealing with that first accident?
Only one, sir.
And which one was that?
The one involving Mr. Castro.
Now, defense has talked a lot about SAPD policy and about, I believe the document they're reading from, it said to park the police vehicle.
With you, buddy.
Yay!
We're gonna be buddies. We're gonna be pals. We're gonna wrestle around.
Welcome, young black economist. Capri Sun's in the chat. Thank you so much.
Utilize emergency lights and flashers in a manner that best provides warning of the crash or approaching vehicles to protect persons from injury and to provide other emergency vehicles access to the scene. That's the complete portion. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that what you did?
Yes, sir.
What time did that second crash happen at?
Around 2:20, 2:24.
Well, what happens at 2?
Reckless drivers come out.
Sorry?
Reckless drivers come out.
And again, I'll ask again, what happens at 2 a.m.?
The bars close.
Now, you heard him give his story at least 4 times, right?
Yes, sir.
The first 3 times, did he ever change many details?
No, sir.
It was generally the same story.
Yes, sir.
And you would agree that there was quite a bit of time between when he gave the first story to when he gave the last story.
Object to leading.
Sustained.
How much time passed between his first story and his third story?
At least over 2 hours.
And they were relatively consistent.
The first 3, yes, sir.
What changed in the last one?
He claimed that the Honda was driving erratic and was bumping from median to median.
Did any other witness say that?
No, sir.
His defense asked, couldn't he change his story because he heard someone else say it?
Yes, sir.
Ask the witness.
Judge,
Recross, yes.
be very, very good, Judge, because I've
No.
got this earlier. Officer, you've still got that. Obviously, there.
This dude just loves to approach.
That means
All right.
Mr. Escobar, talking about.
Yes, sir.
You got it right.
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. That you got it right.
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the same policy that the officer was talking. Mr. Escobar was talking about.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I'm going to offer defense 1 into judge opposing counsel for.
No objection.
All right. Defense number 1, that's the manual.
Well, no, Judge, it's the SAP policy on traffic accidents.
All right. The defense exhibit number 1. So the record isn't clear. What specifically is defense exhibit number 1?
San Antonio Police Department General Manual, Procedure 707, crash investigation.
All right. And how many pages is it?
It's 5 pages.
All right. It's 5 pages. Defense exhibit number 1. Any objection state?
Your Honor, I would object just because there are markings that are on that copy unless it's a fresh copy that is.
All right. Could I see defense exhibit number 1, please?
Welcome in, everyone. If you're coming in, this is a vehicular manslaughter
Is admitted without
case.
objection.
Because I want to clear up time that confusion, maybe it's me. Is
Oh, happy anniversary, rescue puppy.
and we've been over this in detail, right? You're aware of this policy. Now this is in evidence, right? It says, come down to, on the first page, 0.04 responding to crashes. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, with regards to the crash with the wrong way driver, right? You agree with me that you parked your police vehicle utilizing emergency lights and flashes.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. And then and I believe the testimony was that you had walked. It was approximately, and I don't want to misrepresent what you said, about 200 yards from your car to the actual scene of the crash, the wrong way driver crash.
That was my guess, yes, sir.
And approximately that traffic buildup had happened in 1 minute, right?
It happened in a couple minutes because we arrived at 1:55, but the call came in earlier. I don't know the exact time. I don't have my I don't have the IDR.
And again, I think you testified that it was at the 1:55 that you were dispatched around.
That's when I arrived on scene, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So, and you were dispatched a couple of minutes before.
Yes, sir.
And already there was 200 yard, in your estimation, line of traffic.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, and you did put your vehicle there with the flashing lights on.
Yes, sir.
But you were on scene for 25 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
And you went back to your vehicle to write your report and do your checks.
Sounds about right, yes, sir.
Yeah, doing your computer checks. You've got your driver's licenses and you check if they've got warrants and all that sort of thing, right?
And to verify they actually have licenses.
And yeah, and to verify all that because you're supposed to. But remember, we looked at the video when you went back to your car. As far as you could see, there was traffic parked behind your car.
Yes, sir.
There was no one at the back of that line of traffic warning anyone else that there was a wreck.
No, sir.
Right. Okay. And that's what this policy demands.
Yes, sir.
You didn't do it.
For the second crash, no, sir.
No. You didn't ask anyone else to do it.
Initially, no, sir.
And dispatch didn't do it.
No, sir.
No. So that scene, the second scene, was completely unprotected,
Yes, sir.
contrary to the police department policy.
Yes, sir.
And I'm talking about the
Yes,
second crash, serious one.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Michael, so go, also,
Asked and answered. Did we not do that in direct? Like, did he not get to the point across in direct?
nothing further from state.
Is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse from state.
No, no objection.
Oh, is he excused?
Yes, Judge.
All right. If you'll leave the documents behind, remember the rule has been invoked. What that means, you cannot discuss your testimony with anyone or view anything. Only persons, if you have to speak to someone, you're allowed to speak to our attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Does anybody need a break? If not, we'll go on to the next witness. All right. Okay. State, call your next witness.
The state calls Sydney Fusca. Can you hear me?
Testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, you can lower your hand, have a seat.
Before we go to the next witness, thank you all for being here. You guys are the best. We have 144 people here right now. We already have 225 likes. Thank you all so much. We are watching a trial that started yesterday, the State versus Alexander Castro. It is a vehicular manslaughter case. I'm trying to finish. We already did part 1 of the test of the coverage from yesterday. This is part 2. Trying to get it done before 2:30 Eastern, I believe, is when live today the continuation of this trial will be. So thanks so much for being here, and we will continue.
All right, state your name for the record.
Sydney Fusca.
All right, and if you can spell your name, please.
SYDNEYFUSCA.
All right, make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury can hear and the court reporter can hear.
Yes.
All right, state.
Sydney, who do you work for?
I'm currently employed with the San Antonio Police Department.
And what do you do with the San Antonio Police Department?
I'm a crime scene investigator.
Crime scene investigator, so a CSI.
Yes, CSI.
So what do you do specifically as a CSI?
So my job is I photograph crime scenes. I collect evidence at crime scenes. I take sketches of crime scenes and record video at crime scenes.
And how long have you been doing this for?
2 years.
And what type of training did you receive in order to become a CSI?
I received 360 hours of training.
And what type of scenes do you usually respond to?
I respond to a variety of scenes. So smaller offenses such as burglaries, family violence, as well as your higher offenses. So murders, shootings, cuttings, major accidents, and sexual assaults.
And were you working on July 22nd of 2022?
Can I have my report to refresh my memory, please?
Yes, you may. Just remember to please don't read off directly off of it, just refresh your memory and then you can answer the question.
Yes, I was working that evening.
And were you called out to the scene of an accident in the early morning hours of July 22nd, 2022?
Yes.
And where did you have to respond to?
I responded to the northbound lanes of Highway 281.
And what were you responding out there for?
A major accident.
And do you remember what time did you get there?
I got there approximately 3:30.
And when you got out to that scene, what were your duties when you went out there?
So my initial duties were to photograph the scene. So I was photographing all the vehicles involved, as well as the markings on the road.
Sydney, I'm approaching you with what's being marked as case number 3. You recognize this?
I do.
What is it?
This is a DVD containing the photos I took from this scene.
And are these all the photos you took at that scene?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as you're aware, are the photos that are contained on this disc, are they true and accurate depictions of what you saw at that scene?
Yes.
Your Honor, say what overstates exhibit number 3.
Mhm.
Uh-oh, what'd I miss? Got no sound. What's going on here? What'd I miss there, guys? Jury was leaving. Thank you. I guess there's some
All
sort.
right, let's bring the jurors back in.
How come? Was it just like
Ready
a?
to proceed?
Was it just a break for the jury? Oh, refreshing memory. Thank you. I just got a $5 PayPal from Kristen. Is that you, Kitty C? Kristen, thank you so much. Surely $5 PayPal.
All right, let's bring the jurors back in.
I love that there's a break. I think we'll be able to catch up to live today. That would be great.
Under oath and state you are on direct examination, I believe. You may
Judge.
proceed.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what's been marked as state exhibits 4, 5, 6, and 7. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I recognize all of these.
And what are they?
These are photographs of the accident involving the vehicles that were involved.
And so you're the person that took these photographs?
Yes, I am.
And they're true and accurate to what you saw that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, statement offer states exhibit number 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Any objections?
Yes, Judge.
Yes. And advocacy states exhibits 4, 5, 6, and 7, please.
Yes, ma'am.
This fucking guy and his approachals every time.
Your Honor, permission.
Will be admitted into withdrawn. States exhibit number 4, 6, and 7 will be admitted into evidence.
And Judge, you
And-
saw 7?
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, permission to publish.
Granted.
Anthony, what are these photographs generally of?
Generally, they're of the accident, with the vehicles that were involved in the accident.
All right, Daniel, make sure you keep your voice up because the court reporter has to take it down.
I said to please pass to the next person when you're done. Approaching with states exhibit number 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. What are these photographs of?
These are photographs of the Honda Civic that was involved in the accident.
And are these true and accurate to what you saw that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, state would offer states exhibit number 8 through 12.
Yes.
He's approaching again. This man is an approachal.
So those and I going to admit states exhibit number 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So those exhibits will be admitted into evidence. State.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks for being here, Aaron. Sorry to hear you're struggling. Hope you feel better soon.
I'm showing you what's being marked. It's marked a little bit ahead. It states exhibit number 71. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
What is it?
This is the victim's car.
Okay. And is this a true and accurate depiction of their car?
Yes.
And
All right, Lindsay, who I believe has seen this already, says, buckle up, nothing gory, but it'll take your breath away. So it looks like they're going to show the cars. If that's something that might upset you, you might want to take a break right now.
is this has it appeared to you on the night you took it? Yes. Your Honor, state would offer states exhibit number 71.
All right, if you approach.
Thanks for the heads up, Lindsay. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. Bye. Stay hydrated. Drink water. Did you take some with you? Babe? Are you taking some with you?
Exhibit number 71 is
Okay.
admitted without objection.
Your Honor, permission to publish?
Granted.
Again. Exhibit number 71. What angle is this on?
This is from the rear driver's side facing the vehicle.
All right, do you want the witness to step into the well? And defense, again, you can move throughout the courtroom.
Can I get permission to publish, Judge?
Yes,
Babe is out there walking dogs,
and you're more than
taking
welcome to
Sloan
step
to
down from the witness stand.
And again,
Taking
so this
Sloan
was a
to
different angle of the vehicle
school,
that you saw.
class. It's hot out. It's hot as a mofo here. I think it's hot as a mofo almost everywhere in the United States right now. Humid.
I'm
as
showing you what's been
balls.
marked already previously as state exhibit number 14 through 24. Do you recognize these photographs? What are these photographs of?
These are photos of the truck that was involved in the accident.
And are these true and accurate depictions of what you observed that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, state would offer state exhibit number 14, and I believe it's through 24.
Yes.
Man, what is going on? I mean, I kind of like this because we're blowing through this witness, but what the fuck?
Is impact, so where the actual collision. These are photos indicating the AOI, otherwise known as the area of impact, so where the actual collision occurred with the vehicles.
And is there anything different from some of the photos that we've seen previously? What's new?
So TID, traffic investigations, they came out and they will spray paint the roadway markings to indicate the path that each vehicle took, either prior to or after the accident occurred.
And are these true and accurate depictions of what you saw that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, state would offer state exhibit number 25, and I believe that's through 30.
All right, if you approach.
Jeez, another approach. It was not a hit and run, Kristen. They wouldn't let him go. And he stayed there.
Yeah,
26, 27, 28.
Indicate the pathway that both
photographs of.
These are photographs of the roadway with these spray paint markings to indicate the pathway that both the Honda Civic took, as well as the Chevy truck.
And we're seeing we're seeing two different colors of spray paint. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, what colors are we seeing?
We are seeing yellow and orange.
And why are there different colors used in these photographs?
So TID will assign a color to each vehicle to indicate which vehicle took which pathway. So the yellow is belonging to the Honda Civic and the orange is belonging to the truck.
Your Honor, or states exhibit number 31 through, I believe it's 35, thank you. Are those true and accurate depictions of what you saw on that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, state would offer states exhibit number 31 through 35.
Yes. And 35 are admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Permission to publish?
Granted.
Below.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and
54.
54, man. Thank you.
I almost feel like I can fast forward to this whole thing. They're not showing us the pictures, so we have no idea what they're. I mean, as far as we're concerned, this isn't.
Orange and yellow.
First states exhibit number 37 through 54.
I think I'm just going to fast forward. I mean, what's the point for us? The jury can see these pictures. We cannot.
Video is the Volkswagen.
South from where the accident happened. How back did you have to walk in order to get those photos?
I'm unsure.
But do they depict the same scene that you took photos of that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, state would offer states exhibit number 64 through 67.
It's poor ladies. They just got to have the camera on her.
Markings present, correct?
Correct.
And these photographs give an angle of what the vehicle looks.
All right. I think I'm just going to this. We're not going to. Oh, she's almost done. Okay.
All right, the results, please.
Let's see who's next.
Josh Ben, Your Honor.
Come on down, Josh.
Well, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Have a seat, please. If you'll state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Joshua Garland Ben, Behn, and my age is 25.
All right, make sure you keep your voice up so members of the
Oh man, is this the victim's boyfriend? Kim says this is extremely sad. That leads me to believe that this is maybe the victim's boyfriend. All right, guys. Trigger warning.
jury and the court reporter can hear. State, you may proceed with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. And like the judge said, Josh, just speak up, and if you need that microphone a little bit closer, because everybody all the way over here needs to hear you, and I'm a little hard of hearing. So just speak up, all right? One, can you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
Hi, again, my name is Joshua Garland Ben. I'm 25. I'm grown up in San Antonio my whole life for the most part. I'm from Benco, Texas. Born in Fredericksburg. That was the closest place. And I have one blood sibling, my younger brother, Evan, two parents who are divorced. I go on about knowing Alex.
Right, hold on. Hey, one,
Sorry.
I'm a little nervous, okay?
Yeah.
Just take it easy and just listen to the questions when I ask you questions or when defense counsel asks you questions, okay? And so just take it down a notch. I understand you're going to be nervous up there, right?
Bro, take it down a notch. You asked him an open-ended question to introduce himself to the jury, dude. Maybe if you could have made that a little more pointed, he wouldn't have. What? How dare you, sir? This man, you're going to give him shit?
One,
Take
thanks
it
for
down
introducing
a
yourself to the
notch?
jury, but go ahead and tell me, how do you know, well, Alex?
I know Alex from Cordero Ranch. It's our workplace where I met her, and I currently still work there.
And was she working there at the time too?
Yes, she was there before me.
And you know Alexandra Shea West Seibert?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And y'all work together at this I guess sort of like a club or
Country club, yes, sir.
Where is that located at?
It's located in Gurney, Texas.
And at the time, back in 2022, how long did you work there?
I've been there since 2020. It'll be 4 years in August.
And what about, do you still currently work there?
I still currently work there, yes, sir.
So back in 22, you worked there, and then now up to the day, 2 years later, you work there. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at the time, back in 2022, particularly July of 2022, was Alex also working there?
Yes, sir.
And was she working there before you or after you?
Yes, sir. Before.
Before. And I guess that's how you met her. At some point, did y'all develop a relationship?
Yes, sir.
And what type of relationship was that?
Dating.
Dating? Okay. And so y'all began to date. I guess, did y'all have some common interests?
Yes, sir.
And what were some of those common interests?
Golf, like watching Spurs games, Astros games, George Strait, him being a member out there. So that was one of her favorite music artists.
So this club that y'all worked at seemed like a pretty nice club.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you mentioned the name George Strait, so he's around there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you had some celebrities out there, so it was sort of nice to be out there. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And nice environment.
Yes, sir.
And then you also stated that y'all played golf. Did she also play golf?
Yes, sir. It was something we got into together.
And so y'all would actually play golf together.
Yes, sir.
And did she go to college?
Yes, sir. She recently graduated from UTSA shortly before passing away.
Can you approach me briefly?
Yes.
This fucking guy's approaching again. Oh man, this poor man.
Stated that she just recently graduated from UTSA.
Yes, sir.
But let's go to July 21st, 2022. And I know I've discussed that date with you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And
Oh,
on that particular
man.
date, did you and Alex do anything that day?
Yes, sir. As far as I remember, it was golfing that day. It was something we typically did on Thursday since we were both off every week together for the most part.
Okay, so it was a Thursday.
Yes, sir.
And when would y'all go golfing? Would it be during the morning, afternoon, or late?
Typically, we try to go later morning, earlier afternoon, just due to it being July during the summer. It's so hot out there. Being out there for 4 hours isn't.
Okay, so on this particular day, do you recall if y'all went in the early morning or before lunch?
I recall going earlier afternoon, later morning.
Did y'all play a round of golf?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what golf course it was at?
I want to say it was either Rebecca Creek or Almost Basin. Those were our two most frequent ones.
And when a lot of people golf, they tend to, I'm outing myself here, but if you go off, sometimes you drink. Were y'all drinking?
Not that I can remember, sir. It was either one or none. It's, like I said, hot out there during the afternoon, and she wasn't a big drinker to begin with.
Okay. And so on that particular afternoon or morning hours or before lunch, you don't recall drinking or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. And Then did y'all finish up the round of golf, and then what did y'all do after that?
Most of the time after golf, we'd go eat and then go back and hang out at my mom's house for the night. I'm pretty sure we went back to my mom's and then went to go eat a little after golf just to kind of freshen up.
And so other than, I guess, this day and the day later, it's obviously sticks out of your mind.
Yes, sir.
But I mean, other than that, throughout that day, there was nothing that stands out in your mind that's really significant. It's just a normal day playing golf and hanging out.
Yes, sir.
And so then when you stated something about your mother that at the time, were you living with your mom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at the time, how old were you at the time?
23.
23?
Yes, sir.
And how old was Alex? Do you recall?
I want to say she was 24.
Okay. And so after y'all arrived back out your mom's place and well, your place and your mom's, do you recall what y'all did that night or that late after dinner?
Yes, sir. Most of the time we just watch movies, hang out, nothing crazy.
And so like going out to eat, do you recall where you went to eat?
I believe it was Texas Roadhouse that day.
Were y'all drinking there or was she drinking rather?
No, sir. Not that I can recall.
And do you recall if anybody else was with y'all at the dinner?
No, sir.
And so as it goes into the night of the 21st, I guess going into the early morning hours of the 22nd, July 22nd, 2022, was Alex still at your house?
Sir.
And at any point, did she decide to leave?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what time around that was that she was going to leave?
It was a little later, about early 2 a.m. because I was concerned with her leaving that early.
And that seems I don't know, that's a late hour, to be leaving somebody's place. And where was she going?
Back home, she always wanted to leave to take care of her dog.
And she had a dog?
Blue.
Oh,
Blue?
man.
And I guess she cared for that dog. She wanted to get home to it.
Probably more than anyone else, yeah.
And tell me this, where was her home at? Where did she live at?
6475 Cheyenne Pass in Bulverde.
Okay, Bulverde. And for people that don't know, how do you get there from? Well, one, let me ask you, where was your house at? Where did you live out generally?
I live off of 1540 West Bridges Road. Also West Bridges and Hebner.
Bidders and Hebner?
Hebner Road, yes, sir.
Okay. And is that on the sort of the north side?
Northeast. I was on the Churchill High School, so northeast side, yeah.
Okay. And in this area, is it near 1604?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And to get to, you stated that her house was in Bulverde.
Yes, sir.
And how would one get to Bulverde from your house?
281.
281?
Yes, sir.
And if you headed down 281, would you be going north or south? North? Okay. And then to what road or highway would you have to go to her house after you're on 281?
You'd be exiting off of Bulverde Road to where it crosses up to 46.
On 46?
Yeah, close, yeah.
Okay. So it's pretty far up north of 1604, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so did she live there alone?
No, sir.
And who does she live with?
With her parents.
Her parents?
Yes, sir.
Come here, approach again.
Yes.
This fucking guy, man.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
She left your house at 2:03 a.m., is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And she was driving home, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And she was driving down 281, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when she was on 281, did she text you?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what she texted you?
Objection here, second.
If your response to hearsay?
It's a present sense impression, Your Honor. This is right before the accident happens. And the fact is,
All right, foundation needs to be laid for present sense impression.
okay, good. Let me start here then. Did she text you at some point?
Yes, sir.
And did she text you at 2:19 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
You want to be our first?
Yes.
Yes. What is it's several pages? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
And what is this?
Me checking in on her, making sure she made it safely to her car and that she was going to make it home safely.
And this is a text chain between you and
Alex.
Alex.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in this text chain, you're conversing with her. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you converse with her. It starts at around 2:03 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the last text you received from her is at 2:21 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then let me ask you this. Other than her telling you where she's at, how did you know where she was at?
I had her location and she had mine.
And can you explain to the jury what location means?
So pretty much on Find My iPhone, you can find where your family members, friends, whoever it may be, if they share access to that, you're able to see where they are.
And where was she located at?
281. Close. I want to say close to TPC and Stony Park, but close by there.
And through that text chain, there's times associated with these texts.
Yes, sir.
And after 2:21 a.m., you received no more texts from Alex. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
And did her location change at at points?
No, sir.
Did you end up getting contacted later by somebody
Yes, sir.
indicating that she had been in an accident?
Yes, sir.
Did she send you a photo that night?
Yes, sir.
And what do you recall that photo being?
The traffic that was, everyone was stopped on the highway.
And is this when she sent this to you when she was on the highway?
Yes, sir.
For the location that you saw?
Yes, sir.
I'll show you what's marked exhibit number 75. Is this the photo that she sent you?
Yes, sir.
Is this the photo that she sent you right before she stopped corresponding with you?
Yes, sir.
And is this the photo that she sent of the traffic that was on 281?
Yes, sir.
And this is one that you received from Alex that night?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, we'll ask you to offer the evidence state exhibit number 75. We'll send it to defense for any objections.
We approach real.
Yes. 74, the photo?
That's my name.
Being 70. I was showing the,
Yeah, I think it's got board today.
Yes, sir.
And again, I just ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's got.
Yes, it is.
Quite very briefly, Judge.
Sure.
no, I've got that. That I was showing the witness.
On voir dire outside the presence of the jury?
I would do, Judge. Can I briefly see the document that the
Yes.
witness is referring to? That's my name.
Being 70. Do you mean 74, the photo?
No, this is state exhibit number 74, Your Honor, the text chain that I was showing the witness.
Can I approach the witness?
Yes. Yes, it is.
If I can just ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's got. Do you remember speaking to the prosecutor before today?
Yes, sir.
And again, I don't mean to be insensitive. I'm very sorry for your loss. I am, but I've got a job to do. I have to ask you some questions. This text chain doesn't come from your cell phone. That's right, isn't it?
Correct, sir.
Because you deleted these off of your phone.
Yes, sir.
Right. And you deleted this picture off your cell phone.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. And so these States Exhibit 74. You can't say this is from your phone.
Not from my phone.
Right. But you recognise States Exhibit 75.
I recognize both of them.
Yes, so this isn't from your phone.
No, sir.
Okay, neither is this. But you recognise 75. Right, okay. But you recall telling the prosecutor that you deleted all this off of your phone?
Yes, sir.
And you recall that moments before, or at the same time that Siebert sent you a photograph of States Exhibit 75, you'd agree with me that she told you she was thinking about turning around.
Yes, sir.
Judge, not no further questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
No further questions, Judge.
All
That
right.
was it, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, I told the jury to come back at 4:08, so it's almost 4 o'clock. If anyone needs a short break, you could take it now.
That was
We're
voir
only
dire.
allowed-
I didn't even see her let them go. By the way, so do we think that he deleted those texts off his phone with her because he realized that it might not be good that she was texting on the highway, even though it was stopped? Like, I'm assuming that's the reasoning he deleted them from his phone. He didn't want her to look bad. I don't know. It's just my objection, speculation, Jay.
Any objection?
Yeah, it could be that it's, maybe too painful. That could be too.
Yes, Your Honor, and I believe I'm going to re-offer state exhibit number 75.
Any objection?
Okay.
All right. States Exhibit number 75 is admitted without objection.
Thank you, Judge. Let me publish the jury.
Yes.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Could be he just didn't want to have him on his phone. Pure speculation on my
Let
part.
me ask some questions if you don't mind. I'll have state exhibit number 75. This is what you received from Alex that night. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And as far as you know, well, one, do you recall or do you know now where the accident occurred? And I believe you said right before TBC on
Yes, sir.
31?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what are we looking at here? What do you notice this to be right here?
Brake lights, a lot of brake lights.
A lot of brake lights.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Everyone stopped in traffic.
And if you recall, I'm going to show you state exhibit number 74. On that text string. It doesn't have the picture on there, but it shows a time that she sent this picture to you.
Yes, sir.
What time did she send it?
2:19.
And can you just speak up, please?
2:19.
Is that 2:19 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And she's not responding to you at 2:21 was her last response to you?
Yes, sir.
And let me ask you, what was her first text to you that night that occurred at 2:07 a.m.?
She said, "Bro."
Bra?
Kind of like bro.
Okay. All right. And that, I guess for people who don't know, does that just mean what's up?
It's just like bro.
Okay. All right.
Like she was frustrated. That's just what she said when she.
And what did you respond to her about? Looks like 14 seconds later.
I said, "What?"
And then, is that when you received this photo?
Yes, sir.
And then, what did she respond after she sent the photo?
She said, "Closed as far as the eye can see." And she said, "Literally, people are turning around."
Okay, so that's two different texts. One says
Yes, sir.
closed as far as the eye can see, and the other one was literally people are turning around.
Yes, sir. Seconds later. If that.
And then, what did you respond?
I said, "What the fuck? Want to stay here?"
Well, you didn't say.
Or WTF.
Okay. I mean, I knew what that one meant.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that and then you asked, what did you ask her?
I asked her if she wanted to stay here at my place, turn around and come back.
And then what did she respond to you?
She said on the fucking highway, saying that people were trying to turn around on the highway.
Okay. And what did you respond after you received that?
I told her, "You're welcome to.
And what did you mean by that?
You're welcome to come back and stay at my place."
And then at 2:20 a.m., 2:20 and 16 seconds a.m., what did she respond?
She responded, "No, it's okay."
And what's that? Is there an emoji or something on there?
Yeah, it just looks like the smiling with the teardrop right here, maybe just like saying.
Okay.
She was stressed, didn't know what to do, but didn't want to turn around.
And then did you go on to ask her what?
I said, "How are you going to get home?" And she responded, "I might turn around if it doesn't move soon."
She said, "I might turn around if it doesn't move soon." Granted, she said she was on the highway.
Yes, sir.
And this photo, actually, Judge Mayor published it to the jury, I think
Yes, sir.
yesterday, 75. And after that, and in fact, 76. I want to offer state exhibit. Oh, let me get it confirmed too. And this is just for the purpose for the easel here, but state exhibit number 76, I'm going to show it just to the witness. Is this a large copy of the state exhibit number 75?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask to enter this into evidence, Your Honor, for the purpose that we can put on the easel is a bigger version of what we have on a small piece of paper. We'll tender the defense for any objections.
And it is cumulative, Judge, but no objection.
All right, and the number, please?
Number 76, Your Honor. State exhibit
All right,
76.
State's Exhibit 76 is admitted without objection.
Thank you. Now, she's on the highway, obviously,
Yes, sir.
and she stated she's on the fucking highway, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so she's caught behind these vehicles, see tail lights, and then she says it's okay. So then you ask her after she says, "I might turn around if it doesn't move soon." And what do you say?
I said, "And come back here," right?
And then after that, it's all you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And
No,
then,
no, no,
All right, if you have a legal objection, make it.
I think it's irrelevant, Judge, and reading from a document's not in evidence.
All right, that'll be sustained.
you can't read directly from it, but if you can refresh your memory, just go ahead and read your text, okay? And then don't read it off there.
I got you.
Did you respond to her at 2:28 a.m. at 15 seconds?
Yes, sir.
And what do you say?
Pretty sure I told her and come back here right again. And I kept reminding her that she could come back here and it's not a problem.
Okay, you can look at this piece of paper, okay? You just don't read
Okay,
directly
read
from
it
it.
verbatim.
That's what the
Okay.
objection was, okay? I talk, then you talk,
Yes,
all right? But did you respond ever to something, asking her, "You better not fall asleep"?
Yes, sir.
And what time was that at?
That was at 2:28. And then I said, "You okay, baby?" at 2:34.
And then did you respond, did you also send something at 2:39?
Yes, sir.
And
Just,
what did you say?
babe.
Judge,
This is a question mark.
sorry, Judge, I'm going to object again. The same
Sustained.
objection. Thank you.
Again, you can look at it, then you can look up and respond. The objection means that you can't read directly from this document. It's not in evidence, okay? Okay. Did you also respond after that one?
Yes, sir.
And what time was that at?
2:54.
And what did you respond at that time?
Her name, or another version of her name.
And Then on this last part that we have on this particular document, did you also send another text around 2:54 and 32 seconds?
Yes, sir. I said practically saying
Judge, so objection.
It's the same.
Thank you.
Remember, you can refresh your memory.
Oh my
Just
God,
don't read
dude.
directly from it and then answer the question.
This is such a semantics game. He's very clearly looking. I mean, I understand the objections from the defense. I think the prosecutor's being kind of dumb about it.
Okay. What did you respond to her at that time then?
saying I was hoping she wasn't on the road asleep.
And you said asleep a couple times. When she left your house, was she tired?
No, sir.
And I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And how do you know she wasn't tired?
Because I always made sure before she went back home that she guaranteed that she was going to go back home every time she came over. She always wanted to go back to her dog. So I always told her she's going to go back home late to at least take a nap or something before.
And so, like, this is something that she normally did.
Yes, sir.
Has she ever fallen asleep before?
No, sir.
Did you ever let her go when she was tired?
No, sir.
When she left your house, were her eyes open?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Was she on using any type of drug like marijuana?
No, sir.
Was she drinking excessively?
No, sir.
And at your house, did y'all do did y'all work out or anything like that?
No, we were just watching movies on the couch.
So relatively relaxing day.
Yes, sir.
And she was going home that night.
Yes, sir.
Dom's mom, thank you so much for the $10 Venmo. Thank you. Says appreciate you and JBN. Appreciate you, Dom's mom. Thank you.
Alex, Savory.
Number 78. Who was that?
Alex, Savory.
And on that particular day, what was she doing?
Taking graduation pictures.
And after that, this was a couple months before this accident happened, this crash, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's part state exhibit number 79. Do you know who that is in that picture?
Yes, sir. Alex, Savory.
And where is she at in that picture?
Hospital.
And do you know when that picture was taken?
The same night. Good morning.
The morning of?
Yeah, the crash.
This last picture I'm going to show you is state exhibit number 77. Do you know who's in that picture?
Sir, Alex Savory.
And this is Alex, the individual that you're dating that you're talking about today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank
We're going to meet your approach on.
He hasn't offered anything yet.
No, I will offer state exhibit number 78, Judge.
No objection to 78.
All right, 78 is admitted without objection.
Can I send it to the
Yes.
jury for publication?
Yes.
No, we'll pass the witness.
Defense?
Mr. Ben, once again, we're very sorry for your loss, sir. That's genuine. With no further questions, thank you.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Okay. Excuse for us, Judge, no objection.
Excuse for us.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means, you cannot discuss your testimony with anyone. If there's someone you need to speak to, you're only allowed to speak to attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may step down. You're excused. All right, who is the next witness? And how long do y'all expect this witness to be?
I think maybe 15 minutes.
All right. Are you all okay with remaining for the next witness? All right. So call your next witness.
State calls Leslie Salazar.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
You went judge died.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
What'd she say?
You went judge died.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, you can lower your hand. You can have a seat. You're going to have to keep your voice up so members of the
Leslie Salazar, Leslie.
for the record and spell it.
My name is Leslie Salazar, Salazar.
All right, and pull the microphone to you if you need to. State.
And Leslie, can you just make sure just that you're close enough to the microphone that everyone can hear you?
Yes.
And just a little closer just because I'm having trouble.
Yes.
Okay. Leslie, what side of town, well, do you live in San Antonio?
Yes.
What side of town do you live on?
Stone Oak, north side,
So do you often have to take 281 to get home?
every time.
And have you ever had to call 911 while going home on 281?
Yes.
I'm going to approach was what's been marked as safety exhibit number 80. Leslie, do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
What is this?
My 911 phone call.
And again, can you speak just a little louder?
Yes. My 911 phone call.
And have you had a chance to listen to the call that's on this disc?
Yes.
And is this a true and accurate copy of the call you made that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, state what offer states exhibit number 80 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Judge.
All right, state's exhibit number 80 is admitted without objection. Granted.
The other counsel for the defense is handling this witness.
The story being police. San Antonio 911, does the story being police, fire, or EMS?
I think the police, it's heading to 81 north. I don't know if you know, but there's I believe a car accident or something happened. But, at the end, I got off the freeway because I knew that there was like all the cars stopped. And I had my windows down and I heard it screech and then I heard like a crash and there was like dust. So I think there's a car that crashed that's behind the entire line of people waiting to get through. I just want to make sure.
Where's that though? That car that you're talking about?
Let me see if I can figure out the exit that I left, because it's like. Oh my gosh, I have no clue. Can I tell you what's like around me?
Are you next to the vehicle that was involved in the accident?
No, I was getting off the freeway. I got off the freeway. And so I had my windows down and I heard like, well, I feel like your tires maybe popped or something because I can hear like the tires like dun, dun, dun. When it was going on the freeway, so I looked at it. I got to the stop and I heard like a screech and then poof, and then there was like smoke.
Yes, but.
So I think your car passed that.
I'm showing you on Stono. Did you exit on Stono?
Yes.
Do you think the vehicle's somewhere near there?
Yes, I'm probably like on the freeway right across from that. I parked.
Do you think it's on the northbound side?
Yes, it is. It's by, there's like a plaza, like a Target and stuff like that. It's right there. Yeah, like that, the freeway. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at saying this. I just really don't know. You know what? I can see if I can like act like I'm getting back on the freeway to see that exit.
Yeah, it's okay, Michael. I'll just send someone to look around the area. What's your name and phone number?
My name is Leslie Salazar. And my phone number is 210-286-6947. I don't know if that was too bad.
Thanks for being here, Jen. Good luck on your trip. What's happening? Is the call still going? Is this just
A line of cars. What do you mean by that?
I guess the freeway was blocked off by an accident way ahead. And so there was just cars, I guess, waiting for the accident to go ahead and be moved over to get through.
And how many cars were there?
Maybe like 100 to 200 cars.
And how far away could you see these cars while you were driving on the highway?
Pretty far.
Were you able to exit in time before you reached the traffic?
Yes.
Do you remember what exit did you take before, in order to get off the highway?
I don't remember.
You also remember, you described in that call an HEB truck.
Yes.
Can you describe, what do you mean by an HEB truck?
Like a semi truck, the delivery trucks with like the HEB logo on it.
Leslie, I want you to step down really quickly. Well, I'm going to show you what's already been marked as exhibit number 76. Now, I know I haven't shown you this photo before, but do you recognize anything that you see in this photo? You saw that night? Can you say it louder? You can have seen it. So where were you when you heard this crash?
I was getting off the freeway and I made like a left turn. And while I was like under the freeway, it's when I heard like a tire pop because my windows were down. And then I passed the light and I looked behind because I could kind of hear like what I assumed to be like a rim going like dun dun dun. So I just looked back. I couldn't see anything because I was, again, the freeway's like high up and I was like under it, but just in case. And so I just looked back and then I heard it screech and then like slide and hit the wall. What I assumed to be the wall, just because there was like either smoke or debris, dust, whatever. And then that's when I called 911.
And why did you call 911?
Just because, I mean, there was already an accident, so I thought dispatch would be like on site. And with people coming, I thought they would kind of get lost in the middle of everything. So I just wanted somebody to be aware that something happened in case somebody was injured or anything like that.
And when you exited before the traffic buildup, was anyone else exiting around you? Were there any other cars?
Yeah, there was a ton of cars trying to exit.
Pass the witness.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Salazar. My name is Jasmine Olguin. I'm one of Mr. Castro's attorneys. I just have a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
First, kind of the scene, what it looked like. So,
Oh, shit. Jen gifted out 5 memberships. Aaron gets one, Lindsay gets one, Susie Bug gets one, Denise gets one, and Kathy gets one. Thank you so much, Jen. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
when you're driving on the highway, before you exit, you kind of see some sort of commotion going on ahead of you.
Yes.
But you described other cars also turning around.
Going in reverse.
So they were going the wrong way.
They were going the opposite way.
To exit from that point. And did you see any police flares right before that accident?
So the accident, like I said, was way ahead. So I assumed dispatch was on site. I didn't know because there was all these cars and I exited to just avoid all that.
So from where you were, you weren't able to see if there was any police flares.
Mm-mm.
And were you able to see if there were any police lights, the blue and red ones?
No.
Were you able to see any police officers wearing vests from your point of view?
No.
And you mentioned that you were aware there was an accident. Were you aware that that accident that caused this buildup was because of a wrong way driver?
No.
Were you aware that this accident was caused because a potential intoxicated driver was going the wrong way on the highway?
No.
And were you aware that that driver was named Shayna Lassel?
I'm going to object to relevance.
No. Sustained.
Little
So
late,
you weren't
buddy.
aware of the reasons for this initial accident. You got off and you said you saw about maybe 100 or 200 cars in front of you?
Yes.
And you called 911 because you felt that people would be lost in the middle of everything and you wanted police to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And you hoped that with your call, police could protect the scene and help those people that were stuck in traffic.
Yeah, more so like a clue of where they would be at. Like I said, there was just a ton of cars.
No further questions, Your Honor, pass the witness.
Just one question on redirect, Judge. Leslie, is it fair to say that it would have been fairly obvious to anyone?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
All right, let me hear the question, then you can make your objection, then I'll answer. They're gonna ask a question. The defense may make an objection. When you see either party stand, you need to stop speaking. All right, state.
So Leslie, is it fair to say that it would have been fairly obvious to anyone that there was traffic on that highway?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
Sustained. Don't answer. That's what that means.
Were you able to tell that there was traffic on that highway?
Yes.
And so is that why you exited?
Yes.
And again, there were other cars exiting, is that correct?
Yes.
Nothing from state judge.
Defense, any recross?
Yes, Your Honor. So Ms. Salazar, there were cars that were trying to get away from this traffic that were reversing back to get off.
Yes.
And you would agree that that could be a confusing scene for anybody.
I'm going to object to speculation.
Sustained.
You would agree that you call 911 because you wanted them to be aware of this situation that was confusing and ongoing.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
Nothing from state
All
judge.
right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse from us, Judge.
Excuse from the state judge.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. If you're speaking to anyone, the only persons you're allowed to speak to
Wait, if they both excuse her, why is the rule invoked?
are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may step down. All right, and state your next witness. How long are you anticipating?
Relatively short, Judge.
All right, call your next witness.
State calls Jonathan Rodriguez.
Truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Jonathan Rodriguez, JONATHANRODRIGUEZ.
All right, make sure you keep your voice up so members of the jury and the court reporter can hear. State.
Mr. Rodriguez, what side of town do you live on?
North 1604 in near the Sonok area.
So in order to get home, is it fair to say that you'd have to take 281?
Yes.
How often do you have to drive on 281?
Thank you so much, Debbie, for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Debbie.
I want to say at least once a week.
And I'm going to approach what's been marked as State Exhibit number 81. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
This is you guys showed me this disc when I came to visit.
Yeah, and what's on this disc?
The 911 call that my wife made.
And is it a true and accurate copy of the call that the 911 call that your wife made?
Yes.
Your Honors, State would offer Exhibit number 81.
Any objection?
We do, Judge. If the state is offering a 911, we can approach her from here.
What's the objection?
Well, we've got a right to confront the witness who is the caller, and it's the wrong witness.
Yeah.
State.
Your Honor, I can clarify.
All right.
So, Mr. Rodriguez, were you present when your wife made that 911 call?
Yes.
And why did your wife make that 911 call?
Because I was driving.
And you listened to the call, and is it correct for me to say that everything that you said on the call, or that your wife said on the call, is something that you told her?
Correct.
And do we actually hear you on the 911 call?
We do.
So again, is it fair to say you were present for the 911 call? And well, what exactly are you talking about on the 911 call?
The accident that we witnessed.
And so you're calling 911 to report an accident?
Correct.
Again, Your Honor, State would reoffer State's Exhibit number 81.
Judge, it's hearsay, and without a witness to support it, that we.
Can you talk louder? I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's that what I think is on that.
All right, so let me stop everybody. Have you heard the 911, Kate?
Yes, I have, Judge, and
Okay.
it's the witness has stated that it's his wife on the. He was present, but if the state is playing that 911 call, then we should be having an opportunity to cross-examine her, Judge. I've got no problem with his witness testifying, and we can talk about his perceptions.
All right, so here's the thing, everyone, we're going to make legal objections. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to stop for today. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to start back tomorrow at 1:30. You've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to start talking about what you've heard. You're not allowed to think about this case outside of this courtroom. Do not Google anything. Do not try to do your own research.
You're not allowed to think about this. We have mind readers. We have Professor X and Cerebro monitoring all of your thoughts. If you think about this, you're going right to jail.
Everything that you're to know about this case is to come from inside this courtroom and nowhere else. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, so we'll be back tomorrow at 1:30. We can go off the record. 1:30, what ends up happening is usually people will go to lunch, and I call it going off campus. A lot of people will leave the parking garage at 12:15 to go off campus for lunch. So spaces will open up. So if you make it here by 12:30, there'll probably be a space available for you. If you try to cut it close and say, I'll be here at 1:15, that's when other people are trying to make it back to come back to work, and other jurors are trying to make it back if they have to come back. Again, you all know what's available for you in the jury room. So
honestly, I love Judge Boyd, and I don't know if all judges in Texas give that instruction, but to say you're not allowed to think about it, I'd be like, Your Honor, I object. Well, I will think about this. I'm not supposed to think about all this awful stuff I'd like to take it out of my brain, but it's in there now. I'm sorry. I won't look shit up, but to not think about it? Your Honor, I'm thinking about 1,000 things every second. One of them is going to be at this trial that I'm not going to work for, and I'm going to be late home because of traffic. No way I could not think about it. I love Judge, you're the best, but I'm sorry. You have to remove me from the jury because I cannot stop thinking about this trial. It's just can't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it, Judge. I'm sorry, Judge. You're a great judge, but I can't not think about the trial. It's just something I can't do. I think about everything all the time. My brain doesn't shut the fuck up. I wish I could not think about things, but I can't, Your Honor. I'm sorry. It's just stupid and I hate it, but speaking of, I'm going to do a quick fan mail and then I'll take a break because this is a good fan mail I got. Where is it? And all right, so we guys, we caught up, which is great. We'll be back at 2:30 Eastern, which is 1:30 Central, which is what they are. Let me just here's this. Let's get the fan mail. We all love a little fan mail. So let's do maybe not everyone, but I like it. So here we go.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
All right. Goodbye, Rex Monday. Get off the screen. I don't gotta figure out how to do that. All right. Here's one I got yesterday, 14 hours ago. So many. This is in reference to my latest short that I did about the Young Thug trial. So George Smith 2431 says, "So many dumb channels. This is broken and it's not okay. YouTube, fix this." First of all, you stupid idiot, you responded to me, not YouTube, you fucking dope. Second of all, who's the dumb one? You're watching my shit. You don't have to watch it, George. Not okay, YouTube. Good luck. Contact someone at YouTube, George. Good luck. I can't get anyone ever on the line at YouTube, George. So why don't you contact them and get rid of the dumb channels, George? This is broken. Your mom is broken, George. Sorry, I don't even know. I shouldn't have brought your mom into it. That wasn't fair. All right, here's the deal. I'm going to be back here at 2:30 Eastern, right? 2:30 Eastern is 1:30 Central, right? Am I right? Yes, 2:30 Eastern. So that is in 2.5 hours, right? What? It's one? No. 1 to 2, 1.5 hours, right? No, it's 1 Eastern to 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours, right? So we'll be back here 2:30 Eastern. I am going to portal you to Publicly Buzz show tonight so you can like it and get in the algorithm. Thank you so much for being here for this impromptu trial, and we will catch the rest of the trial live at 2:30 Eastern, except for George. Well, maybe George will be here. Who knows? But you know, he's got to be part of more dumb stuff. Thank you guys all so much for the Venmos, the PayPals, the stickers, all the stuff. We will be back at 2:30 Eastern. Thank you. See you here in 1.5 hours. Deuces, YOLO, fuck you, Ted.
Thank you for joining us, J-Bo Nation. Please give all of yourselves an ovation. No, it won't be real long until next time. Oh, J-Bo Nation, there's no place we'd rather be. J-Bo Nation is the place to 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 be.